All right, this viewer requested the Twin Flames natal charts analysis with the 5 free questions for the angels. And she didn't have the male's birthday, so we're going to ask the angels that now. And since we're going to ask the angels that now, we're also going to ask her 5 free questions now as well. And I'll be recording everything on paper so that when we do the natal charts, if there's anything that needs to be brought out from the 5 questions, we will as well. Welcome to Archangel Revelations and Prophecies 444. I want to thank the Archangels for everything. They've been very helpful. I have another channel where I did with the Archangels doing readings as well, and they were very unbelievably helpful. They're very concerned with me. They always have been. That was the first thing I noticed about them. They really made a big showing. Archangel Sandalphon, Gabriel, and Michael came out without me drawing any cards. They actually just fell out on their own for the most. Gabriel and Michael fell out together, and then one card I just felt like I needed to pull it, and I did it with Sandalphon. So they were telling me to take care of myself and giving me some other advice. So that's on my other channel where I deal with a lot of information on that channel. All right, but this is Archangel Revelations and Prophecies 444. Welcome. And yeah, you will hear that noise every now and then because I have I'll forget, like, there's certain things I have to get done, and I stay so busy that if I don't put that timer on, that alarm clock, I'll forget to do it. So you might hear it at least one more time. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to ask the archangels the time of birth for the gentleman, and then we'll go right in with the 5 angel card questions. And I may actually make this a separate video from the natal charts. I might do the natal charts on their own video. I'm not sure yet. Depends on how long it takes. Alrighty, I'll be back with the answers on the birth. Alright, so what happened with the angel cards? We asked the question. We look at all the cards that come up. I wrote them all down on the note paper. And you'll ask for clarity sometimes. Sometimes you can see it. You're looking for patterns at the end of the day. So we asked again for clarity. And we came up with 1:50 a.m. for the male's birth time. And we thank the archangels. Alrighty, so now we're going to look at this is my first time looking at the questions as well. So just give me a moment. So it says, what will the date be of my twin flame when I physically meet and where? Now, what I'm going to be able to do for you is that'll be on your natal chart. That question will be answered in your natal chart. It'll give you a lot of information. But see, this is why I keep telling people it's so essential to take notes. Another thing you want to do is make sure you listen. If you feel you're in some type of twin soul, twin flames relationship or situation, go to YouTube and watch the video, The Stages of a Twin Flames Relationship, or Stages of Twin Flames. And it should be DNA awakening or DNA activation. Something on YouTube. I know it's DNA is a channel. And they give you the stages. Now, even if you went to a psychic and said what date, she'd be able to give you some things maybe. But I don't think anybody would be able to give you a date. I mean, no matter in any spirituality, even with Christians, you really don't get that from the spirit realm. Sometimes you do, but that's very rare. And I know she's saying, this person saying, what date would you move to Africa and where will you live? So we are going to deal more with that question now. The other one on meeting your twin flame and things like that, that should be in your natal chart. First, we have to verify that that's your twin through the natal chart. And then you'll get more information from the natal chart. So give me a second. Okay, so apparently someone has told her that she's going to build a cosmic love center in Africa with her twin. That's interesting. All right. What topic will they be teaching when traveling around the world, and what will be setting up in communities? What will they be setting up in communities? And it's funny she said something about Gabriel, because the Archangel, as soon as I saw Gabriel, I said, yeah, that's the Archangel. I have a very close relationship with Gabriel. But Gabriel is androgynous. So I just need to make that perfectly clear. Like, I know people get mad at me. I'm always going to tell the truth no matter what, even if it's not popular. I've lost a lot of people, a lot of support because of it. But I'm not going to water down stuff for any personal gain. But anybody associated with Earth angels, some people may be Earth angels. They may be androgynous, just the way it is. So we call it transgender, we call it homosexuality. But I've learned, and Bobby Hemmett said the same thing. When Bobby Hemmett, a great master teacher, when he first came out, he was anti-gay. He used to just be really harsh. But as he learned more about metaphysics and the universe, he learned to keep his mouth shut. It's a lot of things we don't know. It's not our business. My job is to be a teacher and just teach. So what we're going to do, because of the nature of your questions, they do require that we go into the natal charts first, and then we'll come back to these questions and look at them again. But even with the name Gabriel, there's females called Gabriella, Gabriel. They spell it a different way, Gabriella, and then there's males called Gabriel. So you guys have already been looking at the twin flames charts. The female is on the left, male on the right. Okay, we'll go right in. Okay, and we are on the full moon. It just became a full moon today, November 4th, 2017, about 1:23 a.m. It is a hunter moon. Also, let's explain how we do the natal charts. Now, the left side will always take longer because the left side is where we explain everything. Now, all the houses and what the house means and things like that. And that's why it's good to take notes. Because once we get to the right side, we're not going to re-explain the number of the house. We could say the number of the house, but we're not going to re-explain because we've already done that on the left side. So once we get to the right side, it'll be more like going in and this is what the sign means, this is what the sign means in the house, and moving on to the next house. Whereas when we do the left side, it's kind of like a thorough explanation of everything, but you'll have it in the video. So we always encourage people to take notes. And sometimes because it's so much information, people may think, oh, he didn't mention that. But if they were to like go back and, for lack of a better word, but review the tape or rewind the video, they would see that I did mention it. So that's why you take notes, because there's so much information and the mind will tend to wonder. Alrighty, give me one moment. And also we must remember that the universe came first. Just in recent years, when I mean by recent years, like in the last maybe thousands of years, but that's still recent. Universe has been here eternally. This planet has been here for probably millions, possibly billions of years. They want you to believe it's only been here 6,000 years or so because that's religion lying to you. So religion came in and just took everything over. So really, we should be looking more at what the universe is saying. Religion, just like anything else, you can use it as a tool as long as the tool is appropriate and accurate. But you want to use the universe because the universe has been here way longer. And just like religion came in, religion will go out. Just like powers come in, and then the powers overthrown, and certain powers that were here just 5 years ago no longer exist. You saw what happened to the Caribbeans after that last storm. Islands or waters that used to exist are no longer there. So they're gonna come, they're gonna go. So we don't wanna make all our decisions based on something that's not always gonna be here. We want to stay as closest to the universe as possible. We just have to use wisdom and be balanced. Alrighty. So on the left side is the woman. The first thing you see 17s. So when you're dealing with 17s, you're going to be dealing with karma and everything in the 8th house. And we will be giving a list of everything in the 8th house when we get there. But that's the first thing. So now, your first house is how the world sees you. And your first house has your ascendant, which is your rising sign, where the sun was over the horizon when you were born. And the east point is another sun location when you were born, the eastern point. A lot of times when we get our horoscope, we look at our rising sign as well as our sun sign. And some people do the moon sign as well. But if you're going to do your moon sign, you should find a Hindu or Indian from India website that deals with moon signs, because the northern hemisphere where we're at, or the west, does not deal with moon signs. So if you go to a website in this country and say, oh, I'm going to do my moon sign, but you're actually just going to get a sun sign interpretation of your. So you want to go to a moon that actually does with the moon sign. But Leo rules the 5th house. So now what I'm saying right now is I'm explaining to you Leo, but I'm also explaining to you your 5th house. So when we get to your 5th house, of course, we won't repeat it again. So you have Leo in your 1st house, but it rules your 5th house. Leo is all about leadership, creativity, romance, fun, childlike behavior, travel, entertainment, being playful, anything that's fun. But it is the bold lion. And some people say he can be too bold. Leos are very confident. Some people say he's too confident, or he has a problem of wanting dominance. And maybe say he could be a little stubborn, or he or she. So that's all that's going on in the in Leo in the 1st house. So that's how people would see you. But it is a leader, is bold, very loyal to people. Tends to be very generous as well, sometimes too generous. Now I'm looking at Lilith retrograde. Just give me a moment. I'm just looking. Give me a moment. I'm waiting for a page to load up. All right, give me a moment. Now, the main thing you have to realize is your Lilith is retrograde. Whenever Lilith is retrograde, you're dealing with someone who's going to be internal. You may never even know it. Lilith retrograde is going to be coming to conclusions internally, and nobody's going to know about it until she strikes. So you have to remember that. Now, the definition I'm giving you is Lilith direct in Leo, but your Lilith is not direct. Your Lilith is retrograde. So you have to remember that. And I'm getting this information from SANJAPERIC.com. And this is Lilith in Leo. So she says anybody with Lilith in Leo is going to be an unreasonably strong ego. There will always be those that love her and those that hate her. With her formidable charisma, she is able to achieve unbelievable goals. Because Leo is known for being kind of like a charmer and a leader, and kind of can get people to do what they want to. And is often in life governed by the principle that the end justifies the means. So they have a strong desire to enforce their own will. And they can be tactless, impatient, and capable of working in a team or any kind of compromise. They quickly abandon an old relationship that requires adjustments and effort. They consciously run away from situations in which they could be rejected or unnoticed. They are always among people, never alone, but they're frequently dissatisfied. Lilith in Leo is quite dramatic and energetic because Leo can be very dramatic. So when a person first meets this person with Lilith and Leo, they feel this overwhelming energy, a great wave of powerful solar energy. So yeah, that Leo is going to make your first house is going to be kind of like a solar house too. And you got the ascendant there and the east point. So in your first house, you still have a lot of solar energy, although your sun sign is Libra. They always want more out of life. And they see themselves as the center of the world. Well, they say that about Leo. They say that to Leo, the world is his stage, but they're the main actor. Say they love to be on stage or have people looking at them, so that's why they said some of your best actors have this. Robert De Niro, Bridget Bardot, Fred Astaire, Uma Thurman. In politics, Charles de Gaulle. In fashion, Naomi Campbell. These types never see themselves as just ordinary, and their greatest desire is to name one whole epoch after themselves, to leave a mark. And that's what she says. She wants to have a center, and she wants to go around the world. They dictate their own style, principles, ways, lead others that willingly and blindly follow and copy them. She says two of the greatest icons in the 20th century had Lilith and Leo. That's Elvis Presley and Marilyn Monroe. And we both know who those people are. If you don't know who Elvis Presley and Marilyn Monroe are, you're either way too young or you're too caught up in the recent last 10 years or so of history. Even though both of them have been going for a while, but that's how famous they are. Just like right now, if you were to turn on a radio and you went up to dial AM or FM, you probably would still hear the Beatles. Now they haven't written any new music since the late 1960s, but yet their music is still being played on the radios and stuff like that. They said sometimes Lilith can see themselves as the chosen ones. And they say when they're like this, they can become like cult leaders and can become very dangerous to themselves and others. Then they named Charles Manson. And Lilith and Leo, they have an unbelievable flair for the theater. or just being in front of people or being the center of attention. But they're very creative and they love to present themselves. They'll participate in all forms of public performance as long as they can find themselves before the people's eyes. And when they do that, they radiate, dominate, and let their Lilith do as they pleases. Then they begin to talk about Jim Morrison, who quickly realized the magnitude and power of his charisma. He would sing with his back to the audience. I never knew that. How rude, Jim. And then they say also the scandalous NBA player Dennis Rodman. But again, we're still talking about Dennis Rodman. He hasn't played on a professional basketball team for a long ass time, but we're still talking about Dennis Rodman. Even though we've seen him on TV, we've seen him in drug rehab, we've seen him in some of the most embarrassing moments a person can undergo, but we are still talking about Dennis Rodman. Before Donald Trump started talking about Kim Young-Jan, Dennis Rodman was already hanging out over there. So they have the power to mesmerize others. They are fabulous storytellers, artists, and the world forgives their many lies, like I just said, since they lie professionally, combining it with elegance and mystery. They have tragic love affairs. If they can never get somewhere where people are looking at them, admiring them, they'll stay in that light forever. Now, this is something that I talk about, but people won't understand it. I was just talking about thorns. And we just did it. I just did a Proverbs chapter 24 study, and it talks about thorns and thickets. And they're connecting that with Lilith, again, who will be the feminine aspect, but then a lion will be the male aspect. So again, you have the divine mother and her son. And I just did this in Proverbs chapter 24, thorns and thickets. Because the Bible talks about thorns. I was just talking about that. So they also go through all kind of thorns and thickets. That's why it's funny that this woman has a person who has the same name as Archangel Gabriel, because that's also who I was talking about in my Proverbs chapter 24 study that you can find out on Real Life and Metaphysics. And you hear me talking about Gabriel and thorns and thickets. You can't get past this. That's why I said I'm faithful to this, because I know it's true. A lot of people want to use astrology and horoscopes for their own particular means. But this is the universe talking. This is the power. So you have to learn how to work with it. You can't just use it and try to benefit off of it, because anything you take from the universe, you have to get back. And if you don't, the universe is going to take it from you. And that's why a lot of people go through a lot of losses and they don't know why, because they were in the habit of taking, and never giving back, or seldom giving back, or giving back sparingly, or giving back for the wrong reason. Or, hey, let me give this broken leg. Here, I got a lamb over here with a broken leg. Let me give that to God. Okay, everybody will think I'm a giving person, but I'm only giving junk that I don't want. So they do stuff like that, and they think the universe doesn't know that. So we're going back. They also give all kinds of thorns and thickets, because they also go through all kinds of thorns and thickets, because in what they love the most is that which is the object of their greatest obsession. And that's, like I said, Apostle Paul, same thing. Sometimes you're so faithful to God, but it causes these thorns and thickets. And desires lives the secret of evil. I'm going to read that again. And that which is the object of their greatest obsession and desire, that's where lies the secret of evil, most often in the guise of alcohol, drugs, or promiscuity, like Mick Jagger. Hot stuff can't get enough. As well as secret and public enemies, which is why they become the victims of their own fame, like Zoran, Archon, John Kennedy, who we're still talking about because John Kennedy is November again. And because a lot of people are saying that Donald Trump is going to be assassinated, now everybody's talking about John Kennedy again. Princess Diana. In sex, the Lilith woman will seek a man that will serve her and fulfill her even smallest desire, who will definitely adore her. And they say some of these women, because they want love so bad, they'll have children, but they have children for the wrong reason. And then when the children grow up and leave, they go back to the problem of love. They say that these women can still fall in love at age 80, just like a girl at age 14, because they say they're emotionally immature. But remember, Leo's also like that. Leo can be very childlike too. But they say Lilith and Leo really makes it like that. Say these people get into complicated, pathological relationships, slaps in public, scandalous relationships. Yeah, wherever you see Lilith retrograde, it's possible a scandal may show up. Brutal scenes, always before an audience, and while others are still in shock, they behave as nothing had happened. Men that have Lilith in Leo find themselves in positions of authority. This gives them a furious sexuality vein, especially in their middle age. Men and women are very energetic and desirable of a lively sexuality, so they remain sexually active in their entire life, and sex is their main elixir of youth. They say Marcus de Sade, Hugh Hefner, and they say Hugh Hefner, even when he was at 77, he was still living with over 30 females. But of course, this was written before Hugh Hefner died. Yeah, you got all this scandal going on right now. All these women are saying they were sexually assaulted, sexually harassed. But that's because Jupiter is in Scorpio, and Jupiter in Scorpio is going to bring these things out. Because these people like attention, they love to dress provocatively. They'll undress in public. They'll have sex in public places. They'll take nude photos publicly, or they'll take nude photos. They love rituals, and they are able to make an event even of the most ordinary, mundane things. Like, if you ever taken somebody out to dinner and they just start an argument for no reason, and you're trying to figure out why this person just went off, and everybody's looking at you like you're a jerk when you were just sitting there eating your meal, that's what they're talking about. These people just love attention, and they don't care how to get it. Apart from that, their fearlessness and courage in satisfying their spirit can lead them to practice spiritism, to invoke dangerous and demonic forces for which they are convinced can do them no harm, that death does not want them, and that they are in fact indestructible. So this person's just looking. This person's on a highway to hell. One foot on the banana peel and 1 foot on the skateboard. So they say this person will be dealing with the divine and the demonic. And if you read 2 Corinthians 12, that's what happened to Paul. He had wonderful paradises being given to him from the divine, but at the same time he was being attacked by a messenger of Satan. But his obsession was God, to obey God. And what she said, because you had that obsession, you actually open up this realm. They say at least one time or more in their life they will experience abuse. They will ruthlessly impose on others their own ideas. They will consider experience as their only valid ones. And although they are exceptional leaders, they are not good teachers. They despise the weak and average and are incredibly drawn to the strong and powerful. They can never liberate themselves in the true sense of their powerful ego. They say other people as Agatha Christie has Lilith and Leo, Pablo Picasso, Miles Davis. Everybody knows. I think she meant Miles Davis, but she said Miles Davies. But I'm sure she's talking about Miles Davis. They're still talking about him now. But he was a very brutal person, brutally honest, and really will walk right over top of you if you let him. Herbert von Karajan, Ian Fleming, creator of the indestructible Agent 007, Ernest Hemingway, Nelson Rockefeller, Julio Iglesias, Boy George, Nelson Piquet, Robert Benigni. So now you got Pluto, which is really going to make it. because Pluto rules Scorpio. Right now, Jupiter is in Scorpio. So your first house with all that Aries energy, because Mars rules Aries, but Mars used to rule Scorpio. Now Pluto rules Scorpio. So your first house is very 8th house, soul and stuff like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you also have Pisces in your 8th house. Pisces is very spiritual, but Pisces rules your 12th house, all about karma and ending. So you have psychic abilities, spiritual abilities, spiritual discernment. Pisces is more like Archangel cards. Pluto in Scorpio is more like tarot cards. So you got all this going on as well in your first house, which is now going to be connected to your 8th house because of Pluto rules Scorpio. And in your 8th house, you have Pallas retrograde. Whenever you have Pallas retrograde, this is dealing with abuse issues, helping out the lower like poorer people, children. When women are overlooked or abused, Pallas retrograde tries to help them. So, like she said, she wants a center to help people and things. So that's what she's doing. So now, because your first house is so much connected to your 8th house, we have to read everything in your 8th house. And your 8th house has a certain spirituality because Pisces is there. So remember, Pluto is taking everything 8th house. So whatever I said about your first house with Leo, you can now apply that to your 8th house because of Pluto. Pluto rules Scorpio, and Pluto tends to go very deep. So now, if you study your Bible, Psalm 69, David was taken into the deep by God. So that's what this is talking about. David representing that line of Judah, or the line of the lion, or the Leo. And then the feminine aspect of God is the deep, but it's also the divine uterus, the divine womb, from which everything came. And that is the 8th house of the zodiac, ruled by Scorpio and Pluto. Pluto represents the underworld, which is also called the bottomless pit in the Bible at Revelation 9, as well as the hollow. So all this is happening now because we just celebrated Halloween, and then they have another holiday, All Saints Day. And this is right on a full moon, which is Revelation. Everything happens from the universe. The more we realize that, the better off we'll get through life in general. Because when you just rely on religion alone, there's going to be a lot of deception. There's going to be a lot of confusion. So now let's see what's in the 8th house, because you're definitely going to be a very 8th house person. That's why you see those 17 degrees. That's karma, 8th house. All right. The 8th house is ruled by Scorpio, which is ruled by Pluto, deals with secrets, mysteries, esoteric knowledge, forbidden knowledge, hidden knowledge, obsessions, addictions, power struggles, abuse, greed, lust, compulsive behavior, stalking, intense watery emotions, arguments. And remember, Scorpio, which rules the 8th house, is very watery and emotional, very intense. But so is Pisces. Pisces is also watery. So this can also be an emotional person, and with that Leo energy. The 8th house can also deal with debates, tauntings, revenge, intensity, psychic abilities, great transformation, high sexuality, doubt, depth, taxes, IRS, legal matters, court, law breaking. And again, this is another, and it's funny because I had another person that had a strong Libra The same thing. It's a strong Libra and a lot of eighth house energy. So this person may also see legal matters, and we'll deal more with Libra when we get there. But definitely that's legal matters, law breaking, shared resources, inheritance, finances, business, karma, other people's money, the soul, reincarnation, afterlife, birth, death, resurrection, birth, rebirth, regeneration, rejuvenation, animalistic behavior, freaky, down and dirty behaviors, psychological situations, studies, research, knowledge, forbidden knowledge, investigations, investigators, managers, addictions, drugs, alcoholism, other worlds. Because whenever you deal with Pisces, especially Pisces in the 8th house ruled by Scorpio, you may deal with addictions, alcoholism, drug abuse, drug addictions, other worlds, creepy crawlies, other dimensions, science, higher sciences, alchemy, metaphysics, sacred geometry, things that are forbidden, taboo, astrology, knowledge, hidden knowledge, aliens, higher life, astral planning, telekinesis, telepathy, dreams, interpretations, animals, enemies, Halloween, the divine womb, deities, tarot cards, higher thoughts, inheritances, loans, banking, animals, pregnancy, woman's body, karma, business, finance. The 8th house rules other people's money and transformations. Other people's money can mean debt, taxes, inheritance, joint finances, spouse, partner, and loans. The 8th house is on an axis with the 2nd house. The 2nd house being exact opposite of the 8th house, and is on an axis of money. The 2nd house is your money. The 8th house is other people's money. So she was saying, she was talking about that center. So that's what you can see in the 8th house, because she may be able to set it up spiritually, and she would be having other people's money from what she sets up in the 8th house. Transformations can be mental, emotional, physically. It can be sex, start of life, pregnancy, process of life, and major transformation to a woman's body, and death, both literally and or figuratively. So you got all that going on in your 1st house, the 8th house, and probably your 2nd house. And it's a lot of power, a lot of intensity, and it is a lot of supernatural things. That's why sometimes you see people get things done and you don't know how they did it and stuff like that. That's because they got that Pluto energy and that Scorpio energy helping them. 2nd house has Virgo. Now, the 2nd house is how you value things, how you value yourself, money, and possessions. But Virgo represents the 6th house, which is about home, service, daily activities, children, small animals, health. So those things are what you're considering in the 8th house. So your money and possessions are kind of tied up with the service, health, possibly the home. Now your 3rd house has a lot of activity. So she's an excellent communicator, but she wants everything fair. And she's also relationship minded. So Gemini rules the 3rd house, which is about the twins. And then she has a relationship sign there. So she's very, very strong on duality and fairness and working together. And that's why she's interested in this center to help people, which is what Pallas retrograde is in the 8th house. Neptune's going to make her somewhat of a dreamer, but you have to be careful. Now, your number, you have a big 17 on your chart. That's all about karma, but now I have to read something to you because you have a major 17. A major 17 presence on your chart. Now I'm getting this from karmacastle.com, and that's all with K's. Karmacastle.com, all with K's, no C's. Give me a moment. Number 17 is the star of the Magi. Now, this is the star that led the Magi priest to Jesus when he was being born. That's why you hear me talking about the mother and the son. Because some people say, well, listen, I don't believe that stuff. I'm not even, that doesn't mean it's not real just because you don't believe it. You have to really understand that Bible is pointing you to higher metaphysics. This is a highly spiritual number and was expressed in a symbolism by the ancient Chaldeans as the 8-pointed star of Venus. The star of Magi is the image of love and peace, and promises that the person or entity it represents will rise superior in spirit to the trials and difficulties in earlier life. So this person has seen difficulties, all kind. That's what I'm talking about, thorns and tickets. But I keep trying to tell you, like people say about me, wow, you sound stressed. But yeah, because I'm on this journey. This is not easy. Like, I'm a Leo, and that's what you're learning right now. Paul, Leo. Some type of Leo on his chart, I guarantee it. David, King of Judah. How can you be King of Judah not have a strong Leo presence? A lot of U.S. presidents have strong Leos in their charts. This is all metaphysical. The faster we learn that, we can get past the third dimensional foolishness that we're in. Now they said, to the spirit, to the trials and difficulties of earlier life, with the ability to conquer former failure in personal relationships and the career. 17 is the number of immortality, and they said, well, Lilith and Leo, that person might actually feel that way. 7 is the number of immortality, and indicates that the person's name will live after him, and that's what we heard. This person says, I want to build something. I want to build something. When I'm going, they'll still be talking about me. And that's what everybody we just got from. Everybody's still talking about Marilyn Monroe. Like I said, right now, it's a whole lot of new bands. Right now, you can go on YouTube and watch how many new bands. Start at age 13. Start at age 13 and go all the way up to age 56. How many new bands have come out? But yet, if you turn on the radio, they're still talking about classic rock. You can still hear a good Stone song on the radio. And that song might have been written and became a hit over 40 years ago. So why are people so into that music and not into, nobody's looking for these new people for the most part? They got to really know how to market themselves to get out there, because they're still competing against people that are old or not even alive anymore. They made music that'll live on long after them. It has. So 17 is an extremely fortunate compound number with one warning. It reduces to the single number 8. So it's important for anyone with 17 to carefully read the section. We will know about your karma at the end of the day. You got to really know about your karma, because that's what gets you in trouble. Because the Leo Lilith energy is running over top of people, but then you got to pay for that. So you got to really be careful of that karma. Now, on your natal chart, you'll see retrogrades and things like that. So you want to be mindful of that. But you also want to be honest with yourself in this life. Let's just say you're later in life. Maybe you did a lot of things. Well, that's in the past. Who cares? But the universe cares. And that's why you get retrogrades for the next life. But you can still, if you're alive now, you can still address those things now. But it's up to you to take the pen and paper, like I keep saying. This is something to take seriously. Like if you were a good Catholic. Wow, I'm a Catholic. On my church, I'm a Catholic. Whatever you are, Baptist, we take it more seriously. But for some reason, like I said, people, when they come to astrology, a lot of these people take it bubblegum. And that's what I'm saying. When you go to the gym, hey, I want to get my body in shape. I want to wear a bikini, blah, blah, blah. Or I want an instructor that really make me sweat. Oh, don't be easy on me. I really want to look good by summer. See, we don't mind the instructor going, hey, come on, give me 3 more. Come on, hey, no one, get over there. You've been standing over there long enough. Get back over here. Get on the treadmill. Blah, blah. You don't mind that. But then when it's somebody teaching you about the real stuff, the universe, now we're offended. Oh, I don't like his tone. He seems like he's angry at the world. No, he's teaching you stuff. He's doing exactly what he should be doing. That's why I didn't really change the format too much. Because people think it's bubblegum astrology and they think they can go anywhere. But you better go where the universe told you to go. And just like if you had a medical condition, you would want that doctor that can really heal you. You don't just want any old doctor. You don't want a doctor that makes you feel good but can't heal you. And that's what the truth does. The truth is going to tell you what it is. Not trying to hurt your feelings. That's why everything's confidential. Nobody's trying to hurt any feelings or put anybody on blast. But we have to deal with this. This is why we're dealing with this now. They're talking about karma. There's a lot of power here. But now that person has got to learn how to harness their power. And everything happens at the exact moment the universe wants to tell you. So a person might go 20 years, 30 years, 50 years before they hit something like this. And then boom. Because the universe is saying, okay, now it's time to address that karma. Not only karma from past lives, which we will be talking about, but also anything we've done in the past of this life. We want to address it and deal with it. But other than that, the number 17 is that Magi priest. And remember, even Virgo is the priestess. Virgo's like the virgin, like the Mother Mary. So this woman's trying to use her money in service to other people as well. And that's where she finds value at as well. So she has a unique personality where she does want to be a leader. She does want to be recognized, but at the same time, she also wants to help other people. So Neptune's going to make this person very idealistic, but they call Neptune the deceiver. Have to be careful. And Neptune sends messages to Pisces through their dreams. So her third house is also connected to her eighth house through her dreams. And Neptune is overseeing that. Because Neptune rules Pisces. And Pisces is a spiritual sign. Compassionate, spiritual. Pisces has to be careful because it'll sacrifice itself. Don't do that. You always gotta, like if you're a Libra, it has to be fair. Because it's easy to say, oh, I'll do more. Don't do more. That person's got to recognize that just like you're giving, they have to give too. That's the true Pisces. That's why I say people say twin flames and people say Mayat. But if you're doing all the work, then something's wrong. That's why I really trust the universe. See, I have no problem with just letting anybody go to the universe. A lot of people can't do that. Oh, I love this person so much. Oh, if I don't, somebody else will do it. Oh, they'll never come back to me. They're so afraid they won't trust the universe. Sometimes the best thing you got to do is let that person get to stepping. Because that's how the universe will work on that person. But the universe ain't going to work on that person if you're blocking it. So you have to be careful that we're like that in our love affairs, our possessions, our money. We're like that with our children. Sometimes you got to trust the universe. Even if that person has to go through the school of hard knocks, but at least now they appreciate that they have to give back. So again, now your third house. It's all about communications, brothers and sisters, your siblings, the environment around you, short travel, creativity. Your third house and your fifth house are all about creativity, possibly community, younger or earlier education. So this person may have even taken some law classes or had something to do with law or legal matters or civil matters or helping people matters. And whenever you see Saturn, that could be an administrator, some type of administrator position, or in some type of administrator office. For twin flames, your third house is the early stages of a twin flames union, when they keep breaking up and running and chasing and all that stuff. Sagittarius will represent more of the later aspect where they grow up a little bit and then they're able to actually meet together and maybe not break up as much. So your third house is about all that. Really, relationships, fairness, law, contracts, partnerships. That's what your third house is about. So everything that's going on in your third house, in one way or another, is going to have to deal with that because Libra is there. So now that we know that as a fact, and that is your sun sign Libra, we now want to deal with, let's do Neptune in the third house. This is my astrology book. .com. The third house represents understanding through information, what we know as a result of interactions within our community. Community can mean neighbors, siblings, short journeys, letters, news, rumors, etc. This house, the third house, rules our rational thought and conscious mind, memory, speech, early education, and environment. Writing and communication. Dexterity and taken for granted skills, exploration, investigations, inquiries, and research of all kinds. So this person, because of what we've been seeing so far, they love research. Planets in the third house describe the quality and quantity of your mental and nervous energy. Neptune in your third house indicates a great imagination, but tends to obscure mental clarity and cloud the rational and discriminative functions of your mind. Thus, it's a good position for artists, singers, filmmakers, poets, and mystics. So you can be, like I said, you're a very creative person. But it does not support school or analytical work. Unless you have Mercury in Aries. Well, let's see. Mercury in Aries, Gemini, Virgo, Scorpio, well, your Mercury is very close to Scorpio. Capricorn, or Aquarius. You may have had some losses or disappointments in your early life, but still need to be understood and let go of. See, that's why I told you about that, a whole past life karma, everything. You may have had some losses or disappointments in your early life that still need to be understood and let go of. And that's why I said it just can't be bubblegum astrology. I'm always going to say that. Your whole natal chart's supposed to not just help you with your twin, but help you with your life and your purpose while you're here and stuff like that. And whatever you've been through in this life and in a previous life. This person may be suffering or pain through brothers and sisters, because your third house is your siblings. So Neptune here denotes a very receptive and complex mind. You can see many sides of an issue before reaching a decision. All right, give me a moment. Now we're going to do Saturn in the third house. All right, this is thoughtco.com. Thoughtco.com, Saturn in the third house. All right, I don't like this is Molly. I use Molly Hall sometimes, but this time I really don't want to use Molly because she's going over a whole lot of stuff that I think is going to confuse what we're doing. All right, let me do this. Make sure my spelling is correct because I said houses. I want to get rid of that. Saturn in the third house. Okay, now we see a little bit, not so much different, but we'll see. All right, we're going to use Astro Matrix. This suggests that your career or area of responsibility in the world relates to an ability for mental discipline, concentration, mental control, orderly reasoning, and logical thinking. Much hard work is required in communicating, writing, and obtaining relevant education qualifications. A profession. Give me a second because this stupid thing just popped up. A profession in teaching, administration, that's what I said, accounts, publishing, or some kind of research is likely. There is a need to discipline the mind against needless worry, gloom, restlessness, anxiety, and misgivings. With maturity, a contemplative mind, responsible, thoughtful, and capable of concentration on serious or profound subjects is developed. The technique of clear communication in speaking and writing is of paramount importance. Well, she has all that because we see Mercury there. Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo. Mercury's in her Gemini, so she's going to definitely be a great thinker, great speaker, great communicator. And the third house is about writing. The only quote danger unquote is that Neptune can make her very idealistic and show miss reality. But I think that's why they made Saturn conjunct Neptune, because Saturn is going to try to help Neptune to be realistic and not to fall into deception of idealism. An idealistic person is always going to go should. They love to use the word should. Oh, I did right, so this should happen to me since I did it right. Uh, Something right should happen to me, but that's not always the case, because you can help people, and the same people you help will not only not help you, but will betray you. So that's reality. So you have to be very careful of any form of idealism, because we live in a realistic world. We don't necessarily live in an idealistic world. All right, give me a moment. Now, think about what I read and when I said about thorns and trinkets. They did slam a thorn on Jesus' head. Because here's another man, Lion of Judah, Leo, and he was obsessed with what? Obeying God. And then the same thing happened. He put to death and thorn slammed on his head. And then the Bible says he died but resurrected. And that's all 8th house. All that stuff is 8th house. Even when he was born, they said taxes. That's 8th house. So that's why I said, when you realize that that Bible is really a book based on astrology and the universe and the houses of the zodiac, you look at it differently. It's not about religion, what's your faith and all that. But you do want to be in harmony with the universe. If nothing else, you definitely want to make sure you're in harmony with the universe, in harmony with astrology and things like that. And it's not something people should be sleeping on. That should be like top priority. And it shouldn't be bubblegum astrology. You really have to want to know what your purpose, why you're here. Because if you don't, guess what? You'll probably end up repeating it again. All right. So now let's see where else we're going. So we got all that going on in your 3rd house, which Mercury's energy kind of carries it into your 4th house. Now, immediately, as soon as you see Scorpio in the 4th house, you know you're dealing with a soul family. A soul family. Now, the 4th house deals with, now your 4th house, when it says family, can be the family you were born into, whoever you consider your family, or let's say you get married, that family, or if you're dating or something, your fiance, that's family. Okay, so the 4th house is all about teenage to adult education. It's about land and property. It's about ancestors and family. It's about the heart. It's about vehicle and transportation and travel. Also in the 4th house is Imum Coeli. Now that is whoever played your mother when you were younger. Whoever played that mother position for you when you were younger. Because that's Imum Coeli. And she will always be in your subconscious mind, your subconscious mind for your whole life. So that's going on with the 4th house. So now, Scorpio in the 4th house. And the 4th house is ruled by the moon and Cancer. The moon rules Cancer. 3rd house is ruled by Gemini. 2nd house ruled by Taurus. 1st house ruled by Aries. We're now at your 4th house. So we want to know about Scorpio in the 4th house. In fact, before we even do that, we're going to do part of fortune. That circle with the X in it, that's part of fortune. So we want to do that first. Give me a moment, trying to get my cursor. We're looking at part of fortune in the 4th house. This person needs a sense of home, roots, security, stability to be totally happy. This does not mean that she needs a house to call her own or her home. The house can be an idea, a person, an atmosphere that they can feel is solid and solidly behind them. So I'm going to change that a little bit so it sounds better when I read it. An atmosphere that they can feel is, because you don't have to say it's solid and solidly behind them, because you're actually repeating yourself. It's solidly behind them. And they say until this person gets that, once they get that atmosphere, they can then go find fulfillment in a 10th house professional identification. These people are usually very patriotic with strong feelings for home, homeland, and parents. And when I saw that Venus, I said this person may have had a great relationship with their mother, possibly. Part of fortune in the 4th house usually means that this person will be wealthy in the last third of their life. So if you don't have it yet, which you probably do, but if you don't have it yet, it's about to come. All right. Now we're not done with part of fortune just yet. Now we want part of fortune in Scorpio. All right, that's how I want to do it. I'll come back to this. Part of fortune in Scorpio. This person can be secretive and intense. No plan or plot is too complex to use in their pursuit of happiness and success. Part of fortune in Venus. The potency of Venus will be enhanced with the person, and they will have a tremendous personal charm. And we already learned that in the 1st house as well. This person will probably be good looking. Harmony and balance comes easy to them. And see, Venus rules Libra and Taurus. So they're going right back to your 3rd house has Libra in it, and then your 2nd house is ruled by Taurus, even though you have Virgo. But that's why I say that whole motherly. You got the whole motherly thing going on. So now we want to do Scorpio in the 4th house. We're going to use astrologyclub.org. And again, I always do this to get second opinions, because I could sit here and say, oh, boom, boom, boom. But I like doing that because the universe, I submit to the universe, because the universe may have some other points that want to be brought out. If I just sat here and said the same thing almost over and over again, you wouldn't be listening to the universe. But when you do it this way, the universe will bring out points they want to bring out. So now Scorpio in your fourth house, they're taking you to your eighth house as well. They're kind of saying the same thing I said about your eighth house. See, this is a spiritual person, but it's not just spiritual, it's also psychic, and that's what you really want to be familiar with. All right. The foundation of your personal private persona is your need to experience emotional spiritual intimacy. Your home and around your loved ones is where you let your guard down and reveal just how emotionally vulnerable you can be and how emotionally deep you can go. And that's interesting. Well, I know Scorpio is going to be very powerful, very intent, very emotional. But I don't know about letting your guard down. They're very mysterious. Scorpios are very mysterious. So, like, if somebody don't understand metaphysics and they got a person like that in their house, like your brother or sister might see you as like how I saw my sister, like weird, like what the hell is? Because I didn't know metaphysics. Like, what the heck is your problem? All this drama. Because they're not going to necessarily tell you their feelings. They're going to show you, but they're going to show you in a way that you don't like starting trouble with you, all kind of crazy stuff going on. And you don't know no better because you don't know metaphysics. You don't know about the divine mother. You don't know about the divine womb. You just got some crazy broad just starting shit. And like they can't sit quiet. Like, what is your problem? That's how I saw my sister for the most part. But she was tough though. Probably the toughest person I ever met was my sister, my older sister. Rest in peace. But I'm just trying to be honest with the thing. So it's not like a person saying, "Oh, I'm emotional. Oh, I need emotion. I'm gonna let my guard down. Come here. Oh, hug me. I'm so not." That's not how that works. I'll be right back. All right, just give me a moment. All right. So now we want to Scorpio. I think we did that. It's a very emotional. So definitely it's a soul family connection. But again, anything we said about the eighth house because of Scorpio can also be in your fourth house. But it definitely was love there. But it's a lot of intensity, power struggles, and like your third house is talking about siblings. Venus in Scorpio. This is always astrology. Scorpio Venus is intense and deep. Alwaysastrology.com. They have a strong willingness to commit to a relationship, and they will only accept it all or nothing. They are totally dedicated and focused on you, and they come across as being fearless. They crave intimacy and are capable of loving someone very deeply. Scorpio Venus possesses their partner and makes the partner want to be possessed. They have the ability to give their partner their complete attention. This can be flattering to some people while totally unnerving to others. While they probably won't admit it, a Venus and Scorpio person has a need to control their partner But we've already been hearing that even going back when we first did for the earlier houses and their relationship and the relationship. Their obsession may take all the fun out of the relationship. They take everything to extremes, which can be attractive, but it can be overwhelming. While a person with a Venus in Scorpio will want to know every detail about you, they won't be so forthcoming with information about themselves. That's what I said. These are very secretive people, mysterious. Oh, so let's do Scorpio. Now, Scorpio, they're definitely dealing with obsession. They're dealing with but a lot of power, a lot of secrecy. Excuse me. Scorpio and Pluto are very powerful, very transforming. So even in the first house, there's going to be a lot of transformation there. You'll see these people go through changes and things like that. But it's just a lot of obsession. It can be addiction. It could be addiction. I'm saying addiction. Excuse me. It could be many addictions to sex or passion, love, but very addictive. And Scorpio can also be very accusing. Like they can be very doubting until they know you're telling the truth. Then they can be very loyal. So they might try to put you through a whole lot of stuff as far as doubting you and stuff like that. Now, some people might not mind that. Like they don't mind having a partner wants to know everything. Where were you? Who was that on the phone? Where was that? What's that? Blah, blah. But then when you ask them a question, they act like they don't want to answer nothing. They might not mind that, but some people may mind that. It just depends. If a Scorpio Venus is upset, watch out. They can either explode with anger or make you wish you were dead by the look they give you. They will probably become jealous of anyone else you spend time with, no matter what the reason, though they won't admit it. They are not afraid to manipulate a situation, and they are talented at seeing through any cover to what is at heart. So, like I said, it's that whole psychic eighth house stuff going on. You can't really hide nothing from them. They said they may tend to be bored on a regular day-to-day relationship, though they thrive on crisis. See, that's what I said. I learned that quick. I had a lot of powerful women in my family, and you think you're gonna be the good guy and be the nice guy and bring peace or take everybody out to dinner. They don't impress them, but they love that drama shit. And I will watch them argue and go crazy. And as soon as it was time to go out to the club or to what, they all going out together. And I said, ain't nowhere in the world I'm gonna be arguing with people all day long saying that horrible stuff and then hanging out with them at the club. I used to just see crazy stuff, but that's because I didn't know about metaphysics and the houses and everything that I know now. So this is what we need to talk about. That's why I said the moment you water this down, you're missing the point of doing it. And the moment you say, I'm just going to make money off it, I won't talk about that because nobody wants to hear that. I won't make money off of that. The moment you do that, you're missing the whole point. So Scorpio, Pisces, Scorpio, Venus and Scorpios can take advantage of their partners on a very deep and subtle level. And they can be very secretive. If they're unsure, they're going to become suspicious. So if you're dating like a Scorpio type or a Venus Scorpio type, realize that. Scorpio Venus is a very colorful person because of their intensity. They are often attracted to the mysteries of the occult, and they are good at playing detective and doing research. They can successfully use their sex appeal to get what they want. They can be very cautious when they meet new people. They may take the opportunity to observe someone they are interested in several times before they actually meet them. As a friend, they are very insightful and they're able to understand their friends as plain as day. They may tend to be off in their own little world at times, but with a single comment, they can let you know that they notice every detail and that they most certainly can keep your secrets. And they'll tell you, like, if that's a good way to make money. For a lot of these people, they make money because they learn a lot of things, but they can keep secrets. See, this person would be good with angel cards and or tarot cards, stuff like that. Scorpio Venus are attracted to someone who isn't afraid of commitment, emotions, or intensity. Do not play games with Scorpio Venuses because they find it difficult to forgive. If you hurt them, you're gonna pay. They say they can be wonderful if you love them, but once you hurt them, you're gonna pay. And they love transformation. They don't like to be bored. Whatever they put their passion into, it will mean everything to them. Now, here's the deep part. If you thought that was deep. Now, Vesta, some people say she implies high sexuality. Some people say Vesta implies spirituality. But you'll usually see Vesta around Virgo or the 4th house because she does do with the home. Now, Vesta is literally connected to, if you understood the Mayans, they feared Venus. You see Venus right there. But the Mayans feared Venus because they said Venus used to come down their chimney and kill them and kill their kids. And that's where you get Santa Claus from, coming down the chimney. So Vesta, and I found this out to be true in my own house. Vesta deals, I've had supernatural, and right when I was learning about this, we started having problems with our furnace. But nothing was wrong with it. And it goes deeper than that because the person who came to fix the furnace is the boyfriend of my sister who's now deceased. And I was just telling you all about my sister and all the crazy weird stuff when she is alive. So Vesta deals with your furnace, your heater. And when a guy came to fix the furnace, there wasn't nothing wrong with it. Although it was giving us all kind of signs of something being wrong with it. But that was like my sister talking. Because that was her favorite boyfriend that came to fix the furnace. Now, so the furnace, heater, fireplace, chimney, all that is Vesta. But she's spiritual as well. And the chimney is Vesta. Any electricity or power is Vesta. Wherever you see Vesta on your chart, that's where you're going to put most of your energy in. And that's why her 4th house of family is not just family love, it's also relationship love. Because I already explained that. But she'll give it her all. But Vesta says be careful because you can burn out doing that. You can have health problems doing that. And I already mentioned the health, the heart. So that sexual side of Vesta means the sex is going to be great. But Vesta also has a spiritual side. So now we want Vesta. I'm going to try it this way. Give me one moment. All right. This is Bob Mark Astrologer. Vesta can also mean small compartments. Like depending on where your Vesta is, I can tell you if you did jail time or not. It can mean small confinement. Vesta in Scorpio focuses on hidden secrets or matters concerning rehabilitation or elimination. Good for projects where something is either transformed or eliminated, or where something hidden must be investigated. But Vesta in Scorpio can also mean, if it's the sexual side of Vesta, this is going to be great sex, unbelievable sex. But Vesta can also be in Scorpio to say, hey, slow down. Study something spiritual. So it just depends. So your Vesta conjuncts your Venus. So it's going to really increase that love and that passion and everything. But again, for the most part, she's also trying to help you be spiritual as well. And Vesta and Virgo work together. All right. So there go Leo again. So the person you're going to have some type of significant connection with will have Leo energy. Now your fifth house, we already said the house for fun and travel and going out and having a good time and entertainment and childlike behavior, maybe childbearing. That's where you see that cross. That's a vertex. Now your number 19 is big. And that number 19 has to do a lot with space travel and people from space. The number 28 has to do with Osiris or reincarnation. So let me look at 19 a little bit. I'm looking for Bill Hydrick, a numerology. Let me see. Come on, come on, come on. All right, so we're going to use this. All right, so we're going to try to use Bill Hydrick just to see what he says about 19. Let me see what time it is. Come on, Bill. It's taking so long. 19, brother, enemy, union, brotherly, union, conceal, hide. Job or job, greatly injured, greatly hated, to confide, to feel confident, to secure, to be bulging, thick, confident, security, villagers, aunt, mighty, endowed, buzzing. See, these are different words you can use for angels, or like I said, UFOs and stuff. To beat out, to beat off, to thrust, to breathe, to slaughter, kill, to massacre, slaughter, killing, butchering, to sound forth. And we also talked about it in Proverbs chapter 24, that sound, to become a Jew or Judah, praise. And again, what are we talking about? The Lion of Judah, Yah, Jah, his father, the flow away, escape. That's the ascension that they call a rapture, deliver. So that's why I said that number 19 is connected to like UFOs. Because like I said, depending on whoever you are, you can see it on your natal chart. But some people, they come to planet Earth and they go third dimensional and they forget. So if I try to tell them, a lot of times they don't receive it. They're like, "Hey, dude, I just want to know about my love. Or, I just want to know about my career. I don't believe in that stuff." But that doesn't mean just because you don't believe in it, you don't remember who you are, where you come from. And as I say, as time goes by, some of these people will be wanting to know stuff they don't want to know right now. That's why I try to give a full natal chart. But sometimes, people, I just want to know about that. I really don't want to know about that other stuff. But give it a little bit of time. That same person will be, "Hey, I'm having these dreams. I'm having these visions. I was looking up in the sky, and it just felt like a UFO was talking to me and stuff." Yeah, you should have took your natal chart. You would have found out why. I had one female call me. She was hysterical. And I was really trying to help her, but she's just unbelievably hysterical. Her stories kept changing. Everything. She was just nuts. So, like, calm down. We can figure this out, but you got to calm down because you're not helping me out any. No matter what I say, you keep saying opposite. You just said it this way. So she was like out there. But she did tell me, Mercury is Mercury. So when I looked on the chart, sure enough, it was. I've had a lot of people tell me strange shit, but it is on the chart. That's why the best thing you can do is just calm down. And do it the way the universe is telling you to do it. Stop thinking you're smarter than the universe, smarter than the people that the universe is using to try to help you. And the first thing they do is run. Oh, I'll go to this channel because yeah, but you just lost. You just lost everything. And all that stuff you're running from, you think you're going to run away from the universe and get away with it? No, the universe is going to make you do it all over. That's why they call it reincarnation. And that's why if you see a lot of retrogrades on your chart, because you've had many lifetimes, but you've also got a lot of karma that you still need to address. ProphecyLastDays.com. That's my website. No, it's Prophecy Last Days. Prophecy, the last days.webs.com. And now I'm just looking up the number 19 over here just to see what I wrote. The marriage. The marriage of the sun to the moon. That's the twin flames. And the Bible tells you that when he comes back, it's a marriage. All right. We'll continue. So here you're going to have that unique meeting. Now, Sagittarius deals with foreign travel, long travel. It's your higher self. It rules the 9th house. And if you notice, in your 9th house is Aries, which takes you back to your 1st house where there's Leo. So you got this strong Leo energy going on. And most likely your soulmate or your twin soul is going to have strong Leo energy. That's the main thing. It could be Sagittarius energy as well. It could be Aries, but your chart seems to be really humming in on that Leo energy. So your house is really your Sagittarius energy is going to really be Leo. And we've been telling you what Leo is, Leo energy. So now you want Sagittarius in the 5th house. And this is Astrology Club. So this person loves to go, but then they really don't want nobody trying to hold them. They love to have fun, they love to travel, they love to go, but they really want to they want to feel the passion of just going. They don't want to necessarily have anybody slowing them down, no rules and restrictions. And when you go, you like to do it in a big way with like a large group of people. And it might even have a big price tag. The small way is definitely not your way. Every time you do one experience, the next time you do it, you want it to be bigger and better than before. But you want your experiences to bring you closer to the truth. So in this position, you have to be careful because this is Sagittarian might expect too much from their children. Now, this person could be very proud and they want their children to be a reflection of them. So you have to be careful because Sagittarius in the 5th house is not a great position for a gambler. So they're warning you to really curb your tendency to want to gamble because it's all big, big, big and not worrying, and that's how you lose all your money. But Sagittarius in the 5th house will help Sagittarius be more creative. They say you have to be careful because Sagittarius can sometimes be a swine, and what they're learning in the 5th house, they should be wanting to give back to the others. But they said some Sagittarius don't want to give back to the people or other people. Now they're talking about the planet Jupiter. So they say be careful because a Sagittarian tends to want to gamble with life itself. So they say be careful that you're not gambling with your own life with Sagittarius in the 5th house. And again, you'll meet someone there, and you got Mars as well. So, like I said, it could be a lot of drama in that because of Mars, and you have to be very careful of children because you don't want to be too hard on children. And remember, it's supposed to be fun, especially if it's the 5th house. So you want to have fun. So you don't want to be having problem with children. And they say sometimes when you see Mars in the 5th house, that could be somebody that argues with children. But if you're an adult, you shouldn't really be arguing with children. So these are things just to be mindful of. And then Mars is taking that same energy into your 6th house, which is the home. But we'll get back to that. We're not leaving just yet. So in your fifth house, you're going to have some type of meeting or even a breakup. Even you meet a soulmate, but it's going to be a Sagittarian energy. But it is going to be impactful. Might be some competition going between you two. Mars, a little intensity going. But even if you and that person go out, you might really have a lot of competition going on. Because that's what Mars would stand for. I'm just looking for something. Give me a moment. All right. Give me a moment.
The historian tells us that his royal apparel was made out of pure silver.
All right. So this is interesting. Now I found this in Starscope today. .worldpress.com. It's Mars Vertex Synastry. Now someone was just asking me about a solar return, and I looked into it a little bit. But anyway, this is what she says. For example, the year I met a man with whom I have a vertex Venus aspect in synastry, my solar return chart showed a vertex north node conjunction in the fifth house, because yours is in the fifth house of love and romance. In addition, the day I met him, transiting Mars, was conjunct my natal Venus. Exactly. And so that's what you have. You have a Mars. Well, you have a Mars conjunction with the vertex. But again, it's showing you a relationship. Both are talking about the fifth house. So I want to see one other thing, and then we're going to leave that alone. All right, now this is Cafe Astrology. Vertex conjunct Mars. Others may push your buttons easily. You have to develop the tact, the charm to overcome this. You could attract aggressive or assertive people, which may be your benefit if you handle it well. Well, they already said she would be attracted to that kind of person. Some people with this aspect, such as policemen, carry weapons. Use your assertiveness to get the things you want. So that's the man that's coming. He's got this Leo Sagittarian energy, and he has a mannerism about himself, but she's kind of attracted to it. So that's what you see, and then they bring it into the sixth house of home, and you see Chiron right there, which is healing. Now Capricorn is an old soul, just so you know. But see that Saturn that's in her third house is also him. Because it's the Saturn rules Capricorn. And then they both going to go into that 10th house. And that's probably why she got that retrograde there. Because your retrograde usually indicates past life. So you see Mars, you see Aries, you can't get past. The first house is ruled by Aries. There's Leo. Leo rules the 5th house. 5th house, you know you're going to meet this guy. And he's probably, like I said, a foreigner, which he is. But whenever you see Sagittarius, that's foreign. So they got this fiery thing going on. And it turns you on. It's a lot of passion, a lot of 8th house stuff too. But sometimes people say, well, you know, all we do is I want to get more stable. And, you know, because she also has that sun sign of Libra. And Libra's all about relationships. And then we found out that Venus and Scorpio, they don't want to share. They don't want none of that. They want it exclusively. They got that obsessive stuff going on. So you see this going on throughout the chart. But Mars is going to take that energy you've been hearing about and take it into the 6th house. The 6th house is about home. Well, let's just do this. Capricorn, these might be people that have a home business. And their business may have to do with relationships, communications. A lot of times when you see Sagittarius, it can be a foreigner or a long distance situation, or it could just be the internet. Anything that's allowing you to go further than where you really are. That's all Sagittarius. And see, when I see Gemini, we know Gemini is all about communication. So that's how I would be looking at it. So once again, they got some type of home service going on, maybe some type of home healing service going on, because that's what the 6th house says: home, health, service, daily activities, children, small animals. But see, he's an old soul. But see, she will find some healing from him. So he's kind of like the mature one, with the old soul being a Capricorn energy, and he's helping her heal. But they still got that whole Mars competition, or taking each other to the limits. And then the 7th house is all about relationships, but this is her true north node, and they go to 19 again. And number 9, Juno. So the 7th house is all about relationships and partnerships and contracts and open enemies and the law. But now she's looking she wants to be in a relationship, or will be in a relationship, with a person who is Aquarius, because that's teacher, likes to take in knowledge, that's Aquarius, likes to know things, that's Aquarius. But they want to share this knowledge with the community around them. So that's a Chariot. So that's an Aquarius. So she may find herself in a relationship. But that's her true north node. Now, her true north node is to find this Aquarius type relationship. That's her true north node. So when you see that Juno was agreeing with her, you may find yourself in a serious relationship with Aquarius. Well, that's her true north node, to find that Aquarius. Now, and that's your true north node, present life. But in the past life, that's your south node. In the past life, you had really intense Leo. It's all about me energy. But now, in this life, at your descendant, 7th house, it's all about we. Let us work together to enlighten those around us. So it can't be I. It's all about me. I'm an intense Leo. I got the power of Pluto. I'm going to do this. I. Now you got to be more like, let us do it together. Aquarius type. Let us work together. Let us learn together. Let us teach together. Partnership, relationship. And we already did your 8th house. So now your 9th house, again, that Aries energy in Sagittarius. So that's what's being worked on in this life. You gotta both of you gotta bring that Aries energy to learn how to work together. So your ninth house is all about, like I said, foreign matters, religion, foreign travel, philosophy, the higher self. And this is usually the house where the twins finally begin to work together. So Aries in the ninth house. This is astrologyclub.org. And oh yeah, Aquarius and Sagittarius, they really like their freedom. They really do. And Leo's kind of like that too. Sagittarius and Leo are fire signs. Aquarius is an air sign. So Aquarius in the ninth house. You are drawn to activities which inspire you to take actions in alignment with philosophical and or spiritual beliefs. Be careful that good intentions to share or teach your beliefs do not become dogmatic pressure on others to believe what you believe. And that's a rough job as a teacher, because you have to have the skill to be able to teach, but not really. Because, like, why would you teach something you don't believe? I mean, if you're an honest person. Like, if you're just doing this to make money, yeah, who wouldn't? But if you're doing it because you really believe in what you teach, it's kind of hard, because you're doing it because you really believe it to be true. But then people are acting like, well, I don't have to believe that if I don't want to. You know, I'm just hanging out. I just like the way you talk or something. You're like, no. We're not here to hear the way I talk. This is because I believe this is bad. So it's hard. It really is. So you may find that communicating the wisdom of your life experiences help you find and or define your self-identity. You may also find that your philosophical and or religious beliefs contribute greatly to your self-identity. So if you have Aries in the ninth house, you're dealing with higher education, but it requires that the person establish a philosophy and use his higher mind. The higher mind should be employed in attaining a philosophy of life. This is still involved with the third quartile of the we concept, but represents the fulfillment of this. And this can imply the complete identification of self with others. The lesson with Aries on the cross is the proper leadership and higher mind activities, recognition, or the higher self within. Leadership in fields of study such as philosophy, psychology, and religion. So again, because of the way this has worked out, this may have been some of the areas she has education in, and I'm still not ruling out education on law because of Libra. But if you really want to get astrological, because it's in the third house, which means short terms, it means she didn't do it very long, or she didn't do it as long as she was supposed to. She may have changed course or something like that. Another thing that anyone with Aries in the ninth house would need is patience with others, and also granting others the freedom of expression, rather than I am right, you are wrong. This should be the respect given the thoughts and opinions of others, even though these thoughts and opinions might differ from the individual's own thoughts. And that's where I have a problem with that. Because no way in hell I'm going to do all that study and then go back. Oh, sure, you might be right. Come on, what about you in the back? You got an opinion too? Come on. Hey, how about you? Hey, let me open up the window like the guy doing the windows. Maybe he might want to talk about this too. That ain't my forte. Since Sagittarius is a natural ruler of the ninth house, there might be a tendency on the part of the I am to be self-centered from the viewpoint of the world in relationship to Aries, rather than Aries in general in relationship to the world. By reaction to the third house, all activities of the ninth house must be applied or shared with others. Here also is the Christ concept that can be the identification of self from the viewpoint of the Christ concept, which is involved with harmony and wisdom. The I am quality of Aries on the ninth house is always related to by reaction to the third house. So that's what you got your Libra. Because that's the whole Gemini. Gemini was the third house. Sagittarius rules the ninth house. We already talked about that. So here Aries demands that the individual identify himself completely with higher learning or the higher self, the higher truth. And these must be correlated with the we concept because, again, knowledge is not to be used selfishly. The lesson for Aries in the ninth house is the sharing of wisdom and knowledge gleaned through study, through the use of the higher mind, through participation, and through the Christ concept. Jupiter is the natural ruler of the ninth house and brings in the wisdom as well as in the wisdom of the masters. So here is in the ninth house Aries as representing the leadership that should be developed in these areas. So again, the universe is saying, okay, we know you have an I am thing going on, but now we're going to put you in a situation where you're going to have to be moved to learn how to say we, not just I am. And they say once you understand that this is a spiritual house, the ninth house, it also helps you overcome any selfish or Aries energies. Because there can be no union. With Aries saying I am, there cannot be a union. It has to become we are. So that's what you got going on in your ninth house. Alrighty. So she did ask about the center and the partnership, and you see that in the True North node. It's Aquarian teaching the community, and that is a partnership, or it could be a relationship, and also be contracts, legal. Juno shows that it will be a serious relationship or marriage. We did the 8th house, we did the 9th house, and then in your 10th house, you have that career. And you have your first planet in retrograde in your 10th house. So we want to now remember your 10th house is ruled by Capricorn and is career and reputation. You see 923 again, and 923 was Virgo. The whole big thing last month, in September 23rd, a little over a month ago. And that was all about the Virgin Mary, the Virgin Virgo. And then she has a 19 again and a 28. So the first we're going to talk about is Taurus. But you can see that no matter how you look at it, she's career oriented, because Taurus is the second house, money and possessions. And then Capricorn, she has in the home sector, home and health and service. ruled by Virgo. 6th house, and then Virgo's in her 2nd house. So it's all this service going on. Again with Capricorn again. And then back in the 10th house. So we see the service, the health, the home. She may have or will have traveled to people's homes. Now, a lot of times people, and later in life, they're asking about their twin flame. And a lot of times, a person they may be getting ready to meet the person, or they did meet them, but it's just that they were one in the separation. They may not even known that it was a twin flame. But sometimes you will meet directly meet your twin later on in life. But the more you understand metaphysics and horoscopes and astrology and study your life, your twin's higher self has always been with you. You can sometimes tell by numerology. You can sometimes tell by certain names you keep hearing. Just certain things. Alright, so we're going to do Taurus. Taurus in the 10th house. So status means quite a bit to you if you have Taurus in the 10th house. Your primary purpose in attaining and increasing your financial material resources is likely to show them off and elevate your public or professional status. Your public image is rooted in your professional role and the material resources you acquire as a result of that or those roles. It is likely that others will measure your professional credentials to your public credibility by your outward expression of your financial and material lifestyle. And even though it may be their own projections of ambition, jealousy, or insecurity onto you, others may see you as materialistic or possessive. Now, in the 10th house, on the level of reincarnation and karma, and see, that's very important as they say reincarnation and karma, because you have Jupiter retrograde, and the retrograde tends to mean past life and karma. And remember, the 10th house is ruled by Capricorn, but that's ruled by Saturn. Saturn is all about karma. So the 10th house on the level of reincarnation and karma is concerned mainly with where we contribute to life. Most people are always looking for what they can get out of life. Where do we contribute? In other words, the 10th house is involved with the statement, so freely as you receive, so freely give. Taurus in the 10th house implies that in the past, a person has always taken from life, always receiving and never giving. Now, in this lifetime, the giving principle must take precedence over the receiving. In the past, most of this was done from the viewpoint of the prestige and the recognition that Taurus is usually seeking. And of course, this also brings in the quality of Capricorn, the natural ruler of the 10th house. Because Taurus and Capricorn are earth signs, and so is Virgo. Too many lifetimes were spent seeking the recognition and prestige, so that now in this present lifetime, Taurus must learn the value of contributing to life, making a contribution, making their impact on the march of civilization. Taurus in midheaven indicates, that's the medium Coeli, midheaven MC. Taurus on the midheaven indicates the fourth quartile, the quartile of fulfillment. And as Taurus learns to give of self to life unselfishly, Taurus is creating the foundation for their own personal fulfillment and this incarnation. Taurus is in effect making his mark and contributing to society at large. So they should let him be using the 10th house and the finances that they obtain from the 10th house to help others. Now we have Jupiter retrograde. Now Jupiter is one of the two social planets. Saturn is the other one. Jupiter can affect people in a very holistic manner. A Jupiter retrograde causes society to reevaluate ethics. Spiritual beliefs and possessions are questioned. Laws and acceptable or unacceptable behaviors are reevaluated. Jupiter's retrograde reminds us that we're all interconnected as a society, culture, and people. From this viewpoint, we see more of the things we have in common instead of a difference. We look at those behaviors that may have been unacceptable or had a stamina to them and find compassion and acceptance. So if a person was selfish in a past life, now new Jupiter retrograde is saying, hey, we're making money. We can use this to help other people as well. And in her second house, where Taurus rules, you see Virgo. That's all about home, health, healing, service. Jupiter is a ruler of travel. And also Jupiter rules Sagittarius, which is your 9th house. And also Sagittarius is in your 5th house. When Jupiter's retrograde, travel plans are often adversely affected. Even the best well-laid plans can fall apart. Luggage can be lost. Means of transportation can develop mechanical problems, and reservations can be mixed up or canceled. If Jupiter is retrograde in your chart, searching for ethics, values, and fairness is probably a strong part of your personality, and that's what Pallas retrograde is in your 8th house. You seek truth and look for deeper meanings in life. Scientific or philosophical research may be of great interest. You may shun spiritual beliefs and feel a lack of respect for those who have a strong sense of spirituality in their lives. But not having this type of spiritual connection in your life makes you feel flat and sometimes empty. You probably feel bogged down or boxed in by routine rituals or blind faith. You continually question the latest fad or intellectual thought, only to feel disappointed at the end. You're looking for that perfect spiritual path mixed with intellect, hoping to find the right balance between the two. From a past life perspective, there may have been a lifetime when you were persecuted for your spiritual or ethical beliefs. This experience has probably left you feeling uneasy about embracing anything larger than yourself out of fear of another existence of persecution. You may be concerned about showing your wisdom, feeling fearful of responsibility, or for jeopardizing the position of those who listen to you. To overcome these lessons, try to listen to your inner voice or intuition. So when Jupiter is retrograde, it's telling you, hey, listen to your intuition, listen to your inner voice. We all have gut feelings, and a healthy amount of skepticism is a good thing, but too much can keep you from finding the balance you seek. Take a little step and start with meditation. Even if you don't want to associate meditation with a spiritual path, you can't deny the scientific benefits of such an exercise. When you do meditate, take time to listen to your inner voice, and you might find the perfect path you're looking for. Now, Your 11th house has Kyrus. Kyrus is the nurturer, and you actually have Gemini in your 11th house. So your 11th house is about friends, associations, and groups. But with Gemini there, it goes right back to your 3rd house. But again, you're going to be dealing with short travel, creativity, mental thought and communications, siblings, environment, earlier education. And once again, you see 17. So, Gemini in the 11th house. And this will be astrologyclub.org again. So your thoughts, ideas, and communications of them are influenced by your social circles or based on the collective needs of society and humanity. Why? Because the 11th house is ruled by Aquarius. Team, group, collaborative efforts likely inspire and enliven you as you get to share your ideas and learn from others. Ideas, and put all of your ideas together to create bigger ideas that can be manifest into things that benefit the whole of humanity. Be cautious of groupthink or thinking and believing something simply because others abound around you are telling you that it is so. And or beware of saying that you believe something, even if you don't, just to maintain your association or affiliations with your friends or the social circles you run with. Gemini in the 11th house is involved with the manner in which the person develops his relationships. First, he must relate to himself, then to others, and then to the world. Here again, it can be purely an intellectual one, tending perhaps to prefer association only with those who are intellectually his equal or superior, forgetting that he must help his brother on a lower rung and thus help him raise his consciousness. George Bernard Shaw once passed a remark to the effect that the trouble with mankind was that it did not think enough, but that he, George Bernard Shaw, was different. George Bernard Shaw was different from the rest of his fellow man, in that he made a habit of thinking at least once a week. Gemini could be George Bernard Shaw in influencing other people, stimulating them mentally. And I believe George Bernard Shaw wrote the movie, which became a movie, Rich Man, Poor Man. That's a 1970s movie, very good movie. By direct reaction to the 5th house. That's what I was saying. Once again, Leo. So that Leo energy is strong. It is a creative manner, because Gemini is creative too, represents the 3rd house. So Gemini and Leo are creative. So this will be a very creative person, in which Gemini can stimulate others. This is different because, as mentioned before, Gemini finds it rather difficult to come out of the cloud or abstract level of thought into practical everyday approach to life or understanding. So Gemini in the 11th house must develop various techniques of expressing knowledge and wisdom so that people on different levels can comprehend. Again, it goes back to a statement that Jesus made. Even as I have done, so can ye also do, and more. Gemini must be careful not to say one thing and do another. And again, it will be nurturing there because of that asteroid. Now, ironically, you have a lot of karma, you have a lot of subconscious going on, and you have a lot of things that you must bring to an end regarding your family. Now, you did mention your Uranus, and ironically, that's in the 12th house, and your family's right there. Your 12th house is your 4th house, because the 4th house is ruled by Cancer. And the moon rules Cancer. So your 4th house is exactly your 12th house, and that's where you're going to get your karma. So we're going to read about what the 12th house is all about, and then we're going to examine that a little bit more. Okay. The 12th house is the house of subconsciousness. The 12th house is commonly referred to as the house of the unconscious. The unconscious state can help engender our success as well as assist us in coping with our failures. Success versus failure. Do we consciously confront our lives or subconsciously sweep things under the proverbial rug? This house might more aptly be called the house of reckoning, since it is in the 12th house that we review what we have been and done and decide where we go from here. Along with these unconscious musings, we also deliberate on strengths and weaknesses that are hidden from public view. Our subconscious works hard on our behalf, trying to make sense of our lives. This shadow play is slow and long, and often fraught with fear and pain. It is in this context that we are confronted with our sorrows, sufferings, and the secrets we keep from ourselves and others. I'm just looking at her chart. Ultimately, we are also confronted with our fate, karma, in the 12th house. Here we meet up with the results of everything we have done. This further puts the focus on repressed agendas and restraint. What have we wrought within our lives? This is a key question for the 12th house, and we will deal with it both consciously and unconsciously. Will the answers compel us to be transformed or reborn? This is another cornerstone of the 12th house, the manner in which we move forward. The manner in which we move forward. We can learn much from the unconscious. In its most notable manifestation, we will be prompted to be charitable. If we learn our lessons, both past and present, we are also better equipped to move forward. The 12th house compels us to seek closure in a spiritual way as an aid to positive growth. The last house of the zodiac also recognizes that we can feel bound in life, stuck and confined. For this reason, this house rules jails, hospitals, institutions, asylums, buildings, churches, and any space that inhibits freedom. More gloominess in the 12th house comes in the form of danger, secret enemies, clandestine affairs, prostitution, sexual exploits, addictions, animals. Beware. And that's why her Pisces is in the 8th house, but her Pisces actually rules the 12th house. So these are definitely 8th house, 12th house things to be concerned with. Some call the 12th house the garbage bin of the zodiac. That is an unfair term. Ultimately, this house is a champion of positive transformation. It is here that we stand on the precipice and determine how we will proceed. By reflecting on and using the unconscious mind to revisit the past, we begin to form our incoming future. So we have to be honest with ourselves, also maybe in our dreams, but however we learn about our subconscious mind. The moon is nurturing, the moon in Cancer, because Cancer is the motherly sign that makes you up. Motherly, nurturing, but also psychic. Uranus conjunct the moon. All right, we're looking at Uranus conjunct the moon. This will be astromatrix.org. So to understand your first house, you will review what we said about your fourth house, because that's all going to be in your 12th house. To understand your 12th house, you have to review what we said about your fourth house. Because it's all going to be there. A Moon-Uranus aspect indicates possible personality conflicts based in the clash between established behavior patterns, symbolized by the moon, and the progressive but disruptive energy of Uranus. While this conflict can spread throughout the psyche, the moon's affinity is to feelings and emotions, and Uranus is toward impersonality, abstraction, and intellect. This can create duality and friction between head and heart, which may be difficult to resolve. Emotionally, you may experience regular mood changes and erratic, contradictory feelings. And they keep telling you that. Watch out for saying one thing and doing another. So you may appear unpredictable, and that goes with Scorpio too, believe it or not. Unreliable, impulsive, or lacking in commitment and responsibility. Lunar energies fluctuate, ebb and flow, and joining these with Uranus is not conducive to a stable and controllable inner life. You will find that your inner bias moves between either lunar dominance or Uranus dominance. Only occasionally will it rest at a balance uniting both. However, when head and heart are in accord, this is the ideal state, and achieving this should be an objective more regularly. You look for the unusual and exciting in life. Strangeness, and novelty intrigue and attract you, and this influences your intimate relationship choices. Your moon will demand the experience of intense emotions, and Uranus will expect fascinating and excitement to bewitch the mind. The problem is finding both evoked by one partner and not fading away with familiarity, or soon you will be looking for someone new. Relationships are likely to be varied and cosmopolitan, ranging across different personality types, and you may find difficulty determining which type suits you the most over the long term. You are being attracted to unsuitable types and to those who pose some sort of challenge, which you find adds extra interest. Much depends on how you succeed in balancing the innate conflict between a need for secure foundations, that's Cancer, and the fascination with novelty and free experimentation, that's Uranus. The moon could dominate possibly by the inner imposition of restrictions or inhibiting desires for new experiences and freedom. This could eventually result in the frustration of unlived dreams. Or Uranus could draw you toward excess, where roots and stabilities are lost in pursuing new and unexplored experiences, irrespective of personal cost. Your life could be rich with interesting social acquaintances. Your direct, open expression, coupled with intellectual analysis, realism, and personal tolerance, can attract many who find your company stimulating and rewarding. As you often reflect on both sides of an issue, evading a commitment to choose sides and become partisan, you can act as a diplomatic foil between adversaries, as well as retaining friendships and contact. You may eventually prefer to live independently, choosing not to be restricted to one partner, allowing your freedom to change as you will. This can result in an inability to stay committed and interested within a traditional relationship, or through problems partly created by your emotional shifts and moods, where in the midst of confusion you insist on your right to be self-determining, even if you have no clear idea of what it is you actually want. Uranian vessel alien construct. Channel for high-frequency beings. Global receipt and transmission of messages from the divine. Intervention. Innovation. Wake up the sleeping masses. I think that was just a commercial. I gotta go back to the page. Give me 1 second, because I had copied that information, because it's easier for me to just increase the font size so I can read it better. No, it's there. I don't know why they put that there. Anyway, that was Astro Matrix Moon conjunct Uranus. So you got all that going on in the 12th house. But pretty much when I see that, I know it probably was some family issues there, especially when soul families can be very dysfunctional. So when I see that Scorpio in the 4th house, I kind of know what's going on. So now you really want Uranus in the 12th house. That's the one you really want. Okay, this is good. This is myastrologybook.com. Very good. In order to fully understand Uranus in the 12th house, we need to first understand the 12th house itself, which we did. So the secrets or repressions that we hold of the self form the classical interpretation of the 12th house. The 12th house is where we build inner strength and overcome limitations, sorrows, and fears, and where the individual adapts to the collective. It signifies self-undoing, where we stand in our own way, where we are not free to let ourselves become and be who we essentially already are. It also represents that which is hidden: karma, limitation, confinement, prison, betrayal, sacrifice, hospitals and institutions, nuns and priests, secrets and secret enemies who may just be rejected aspects of ourselves. Initiation, ultimate understanding, and charity, given or received. So with Uranus in the 12th house, you have a great need to feel unshackled, yet often feel restricted or confined in some vague or elusive manner. Your intuition can be very strong, but you may have had a hard time listening to yourself. You may have a hard time listening to yourself. You can be your own worst enemy in that regard, for you can disregard common sense and your natural limitations when you feel your will is being challenged or limited. It's important that you learn some sense of surrender to the way life is and to let go of subconscious resistance. This is a good position for researchers or those who need to be isolated or to work behind the scenes. If your Uranus is well aspected and you learn to accept self-discipline, this is an excellent placement for psyche and occult study. If afflicted, however, it would be wise to stay away from the same. And that's all he had to say. It's a very interesting house. So sometimes working things out with family can be a situation. Because they go back to your third house where they were talking about siblings especially. However you try to work it out. Sometimes it could be a letter. Sometimes it could be whatever. Third. I'm just not a third dimensional person. It's like people that don't want to say sorry and stuff like that. I just look at it is what it is. But like me, I'm more about let's extend. Like let's not stay reincarnating with retrogrades and reincarnating. If we can ascend to something more than this. Plus, people are relying on us. So if we're setting a bad example, they're probably going to follow us, and then they're also going to make that poor mistake and just have to keep reincarnating. So definitely, we talked about it. It'll be good to go back over, but it will definitely be some family issues there. So now let's say Uranus in Cancer. Great. This will be myastrologybook.com again. Uranus was in Cancer only 7 years since the time of the Civil War, when the planet of change entered the sign of home, family, and mother. The American family scene changed forever. And see, when she has Venus in her 4th house, it just implies that she had a very loving mother. Now that could have something to do with her twin or the person she's in a romantic relationship with or has been, but I just get a strong belief it was the mother. A woman seeking her own individually replaced the classical woman who stayed at home and cooked and raised the kids. So they're saying that this happened around June 1949 and August 1955 and February 1955 to June 1956. So when that planet of change entered the sign of the home into Cancer, the American family scene changed forever. And I wasn't born in, but I caught it in the 70s. When I was a kid, it was still going on, but at the 70s, it was over. It was a done deal. And I watched men keep their house in check, smacking a woman around, and all of a sudden, a woman ain't taking no more, and they overthrew those men. Which I'm not with that anyway. They should have been overthrown if you're putting your hands on people. I'm totally against it. But the whole family structure was that's what I hate. That the whole family structure was dissolved or messed up and never been the same since. So the woman seeking her own individuality replaced the classical woman who stayed at home and cooked and raised the kids. Divorce and separation began to be considered, and children moved further away when they left the family fold. Wow, he even said that. That's powerful. See, because that's karma too. I mean, without the family, there's just not a lot of people put their parents, like their mom and old folks. I could never do that. Like, I would hate to do that. But I see people do that. Like, I could never, like, no matter what my parents did, whatever, I would never just abandon my parents. That's still your parents. But you see people do that away, and that's what he's saying. Divorce and separation began to be considered, and children moved further away from when they left the family fold. But that's also subconscious, because they wanted that family setting and they didn't get it. So down deep inside, they hold people accountable, and they figure, now I got a chance to get payback, and they just put the person in the old folks home and whatever, because subconsciously they really don't care. Like, I didn't have a dad because of you, or you guys were always arguing, or so that's why I'm surprised this guy said that, but that's kind of true. So ideas and books represented by Uranus dealing with the subconscious Cancer appeared, and people started to explore the irrational world of feelings. Your emotional life can be somewhat unstable with this placement, especially if Uranus is in any aspect to the moon. And your Uranus is right there with the moon, and we just read that. If Uranus and the moon is afflicted, problems at home while you were growing up can cause apparently baseless insecurities later in adult life. You may have some unusual and original ideas in regard to home and family. Then it says Uranus returns to each sign once every 84 years. Since Uranus stays 7 years in each sign, its effect in Cancer is collective and global rather than individual. And then whenever you talk about anything collective, you're going to go back with Aquarius. Because remember, Uranus rules Aquarius. So whatever we said about Aquarius in your chart, Uranus is definitely affecting that as well. And it will always have some type of family effect. The family you were born from, but also any family, anybody you consider family, even a guy you're dating. That's why you see it in the 7th house as well. Because it's funny, she asked me about Uranus, and you see it. And now when I was asking about the time when this first guy started, the time of your friend's birth, I believe your Uranus did show up. All right, give me a second. Yep, Uranus showed up here. All right. Every planet, however, including Neptune, is in a different house every 2 hours due to the Earth's daily rotation on its axis. Therefore, Uranus' position by the house, yours in the 12th house, is very individual. So Uranus in the 12th house, and your 12th house is very individual to you. Uranus in your sign that's in the 12th house is very collective, global. So what it's saying, because you asked about twin flames, but really any relationship. So to better understand that, you have to deal more with the family. You have to get closure, because that's what the 12th house is about. It encourages you to go into your subconscious mind and deal with things. And I come from a very dysfunctional family, but I knew for a fact the Bible's right about that. If you carry that, you're only hurting yourself. If you carry any of that, you're only hurting yourself. It's good to find a place where you can let go, even forgive. And if those people are alive, I don't know if you know who Dr. Joyce Myers is, anybody listening, but that was the best thing she could have did, was make peace with her father, for a lot, for spiritual reasons, for his benefit, for her benefit as well. All right, so now that concludes the natal chart to the left, the female. Now we will go right into the natal chart on the right. First house is his personality. We've already explained the ascendant and the EP, Aquarius. So right away, because we've been talking about Uranus and Aquarius, and right away we see even at number 13 and 31, very unique. 3113 with the EP. So again, he's going to like to learn. He never wants to appear like he doesn't know what's going on, and he'll use words and stuff like that because he wants to give the appearance that he knows a lot, but he also wants to help people with what he knows. Community-minded person. That's his first house. Second house at 22 degrees. So he's got the 22 and the 55. Any 55 or 555 is always like the grace or the divine mother, things like that. Because that's Vesta. Like I said, Vesta works for Virgo. Kind of like the divine mother energy. So he's going to be a spiritual person. Like his money, what he values is going to be spiritual. And ironically, his second house is like her house as well, because he's in her 8th house with Pisces. And as you can see, he's healing with Chiron, because Chiron is healing. So he's kind of like a spiritual healer, and he doesn't mind using finances to help out with helping others and things of that nature. So very easily, you just want Vesta and Pisces. This is always astrology.com. Vesta and Pisces is dedicated to serving those in need. And that's what we said. They may sacrifice themselves or show deep compassion in their service. Because Pisces can be very passionate, but they can also be very self-sacrificing. And again, you never want to sacrifice so much that you hurt yourself, because you may find out that the same people you help are not there for you when you need them. So you want to be balanced. So they want to heal others. Vesta and Pisces wants to heal others. Because like I said, Vesta can be a very spiritual sign. She's actually called the priestess. They hold their beliefs in high regard. They are spiritual and may be led into fantasy. So we really want to watch where Neptune is on his chart, because that'll cause fantasy and deception. And Neptune also comes into your dreams with Pisces. And Neptune can also cause telepathy between two twin souls or twin flames, even other people. They have an excellent imagination. They may not be sure of how they do what they do. They run the risk of not living in reality. They need to learn to awaken into themselves and connect the body with the mind and the spirit. Going into his 3rd house, and there goes that Aries. And that's his true north node. And I firmly believe that her true north node is Aquarius, which is him, and his true north node is Aries, which is her. And like I said, this is why relationships fail. The runner separator. That's why I said make sure you listen to the video, The Stages of a Twin Flame Relationship, by DNA. Maybe it's DNA Awakening or DNA Activation, but she's going to tell you the stages. Because like I'm saying, Gemini is the early stages, which means they're going to keep breaking up, separating, running and chasing each other. This is all twin flame stuff. So that first house of Gemini. So there you see the Aries energy there. But he's trying to get healing there. And of course there's love there with Venus. And Venus is love, finance, forgiveness, diplomacy, culture, fashion. And that's his true north node in this life. Really, a Gemini is twins. Like I said, creativity, short travel, siblings, the community, creativity, multitasking, mental. But that's his purpose in his life. But he's got to do it with that Aries energy. So they're giving him where he's got to have great communication skills. And that's his sun sign. So he's going to be really forward moving in all those areas that are third house. But it still has to do with her. So now we're going to look at Saturn and Aries. All right, come on. Okay, we're going to... I thought that was actual fix, but they call it actual bix. That's funny. It just cracks me up how they steal. Give me a second. I'm trying to wait to see what happens. No, I don't want to use this one. While Saturn and Aries may cause a delayed development of ambition in your life, they may end up taking a lot of responsibility when still very young. So he may have taken up a lot of responsibility when he was very young. Obstacles arise that may block progress. Having to assert themselves can cause a lot of anxiety. Anger may be an issue, although others see them as controlled and cool the majority of the time. Aries Saturn can create a sense of responsibility of oneself, although they may lack confidence. They don't like risks, which may make them appear weak. Some may overcompensate by taking risks that seem foolhardily. So you could kind of see like they like I said, the third house, they definitely got third house issues. They both got sun signs in the third house. They both got Saturn in the third house, Mercury in the third house. But the funny thing about it, even though they got issues, they'll talk about it. They'll talk to each other about it. Maybe not the deep underlying reasons for the issues, but they will talk about it. Saturn and Aries may miss out on some opportunities due to their caution. They learn to choose their battles and face the necessary ones with courage. They feel like they won't get what they want from life, but then they often don't ask. They may be shy or withdrawn. Conversely, they may also be in your face. They are afraid of failure and rejection. So they're like saying this person can go either way. Their frustration with their own inner conflicts may cause them to seek to understand themselves. Aries and Saturn can have good concentration and reasoning skills. They may be a bit suspicious of those who are above them at work or school. They may try to force their ideas of right and wrong on others, as they have an innate need to be in control of every situation. They need skills in self-sufficiency and self-reliance to succeed. It is well for them to develop a nice social persona to help them overcome any feeling of self-doubt or fear and face life challenges with confidence. Physical exercise is important for Saturn and Aries to ward off circulatory issues. So they have to be exercising and they're going to have circulation problems. They may be prone to congestion, which can cause headaches due to restricted flow. They also want to be sure to drink enough water to flush out the kidneys to prevent problems. So they got to make sure they take care of the kidneys. Aries Saturn needs to learn what is worth the effort and what is not. Deciding which opportunities are worth the time needed is a skill that will lead them to success or ruin. They may experience a nice balance between impulsiveness and caution. But through all the crazy stuff going on in that third house, there is love. Definitely love. And communication. Okay, now going into the fourth house, there's Taurus. With Lilith retrograde. So we definitely got to tackle that Lilith retrograde, but we'll see. First thing we're going to do is Mars in the fourth house. This is myastrologybook.com. Your emotional foundation and subconscious self-image is based on early childhood, established in the fourth house. The way you feel about yourself is conditioned by your experience with your parents or significant others. Acceptance or rejection as well as you were growing up. So they say the fourth house can rule the early part when you were growing up as a child, but it can also rule the later part of your life. So this person has strong emotions, assertive, and may need a calming influence with Mars in the fourth house. You are driven to send down roots, build foundations, and create security for yourself. When it comes to home and family, you're highly motivated. Tension, discord, or anger deep within you may be reflected in your domestic life until recognized, understood, or surrendered. When peace can truly enter your soul. Until then, your intimate partners may experience some of your energy as sand in the bed. They said that Mars is afflicted. Well, Mars is conjunct Lilith retrograde, so I'm sure that would have an effect on him. But usually Mars in the fourth house, it can mean dysfunctional family, possible abuse or violence, and that will affect how somebody is. That could really affect the person in so many different ways. So we do see that as a situation. Now Taurus in the fourth house is amazing, amazing, because this person can actually get people to just believe what they tell them. Like the people might all agree that this is the best way to do something, but that Taurus in the fourth house can walk in and say a couple of things, whatever, and then they'll change what they just said. So they have a certain skill. When I first read that about somebody, Taurus in the fourth house, the first thing I did was look up Adolf Hitler because I heard he could do that, and I found out he was a Taurus, or he had a strong Taurus in his chart, or whatever it was. All right, so Taurus in the fourth house. This is astrologyclub.org. So a Taurus in the fourth house wants to make sure they can provide for their family financially and materially. They like to feel safe and secure and stable. So that they may keep things around them that remind them of their childhood. But I think that would depend on what their childhood was like. Now, when you're talking about reincarnation and karma, the fourth house is connected with the influence and effect we have on others. The auric field we have carry around us represents your own personal home. So a Taurus in the fourth house can affect people even by what they're thinking, what they're saying, and what they're doing. And that's all part of their auric field. So Taurus in the fourth house can be extremely instrumental in helping others find purpose and direction and meaning in their life. But sometimes Taurus can be pretty forceful because it's big, powerful, bull. Might even come off as being dominating. So a Taurus must realize you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force him to drink it. So they say Taurus has a temper. So that's why I'm trying to tell you, got the Mars and Taurus. That's just not a good vibe. And then Lilith retrograde, like I said, a retrograde Lilith tends to hold things in. She could be 100% wrong, but that's the way she sees it. And at some point, she will react one way or another. She might blow up, or she may just scheme. So Taurus in the 4th house, his lesson is to be peaceful, to tap into, because Venus rules Taurus. Tap into the harmony aspect of Venus and to teach others peace, to be at peace with themselves, and to create harmony in their environment. But Taurus must realize that no matter where he is, no matter where he goes, no matter what type of encounter he has with people, he has an influence upon people and life itself. So even if he just try to be quiet and keep to himself, it's not going to work. Anyone who comes into the spirit or the influence of the Taurus is immediately affected by the Taurus and the qualities the Taurus is exhibiting at that time, either positive or negative. The Taurus must therefore be extremely careful as to what he's carrying within his own consciousness, because he carries a tremendous quality of influence where people and life are concerned. Okay, now Gemini in the 5th house with part of fortune. And you see the number 13 again. So his number 13 or 31, these are his numbers. Numbers that are going to resonate with him. Part of fortune in the 5th house. Very creative. He has very creative and emotional energies overflowing. He needs to express these and finds great satisfaction in creation or artistic creativity or activity. He is attracted to adventurous enterprises. He has luck with speculations and with children. He has strong abilities in creative field of art, drama, theater, music, literature, and inventions. He needs to pour himself into what he is doing, and he needs appreciation and applause. Part of fortune in the 5th house. Now part of fortune in Gemini. He likes to reach out and communicate. He uses his communication skills and his ability to learn as he pursues happiness and success. So again, he's highly creative, loves to travel, loves children, the community, a thinker, very active. Appears to be a very fun person because the 3rd house and the 5th house can deal with fun. Now in the 6th house, where Virgo rules health and service, young children, animals, daily activities, he has Cancer. So once again, this is the family sign, but also it can be the educational sign as well. Can also be property, real estate, health. So we already talked about his health. And now in the relationship sector, partnership, relationship contracts, open enemies, there's Leo. So we've been hearing a lot about Leo energy. So now, that's all well and good, but here's the challenge with Leo in the 7th house. Okay, everybody likes romance, everybody likes fun, everybody likes to travel. Some people like children. Some people like childish ways as far as comedy, making you laugh, having fun. But see, the seventh house is like for a more serious relationship. Whereas Leo's more about the fun. Leo rules the fifth house. It's more about the fun. Let's not get too serious. And that could be a problem for somebody in the seventh house, especially since she's a Libra. And Libra rules the seventh house. So that could be an issue there for them. Jupiter retrograde, let's do that again. Of course, we already read the long thing, so we don't have to necessarily read the whole thing, but we are going to get the main points of it. So he's reevaluating everything. He's questioning everything, spiritual beliefs and positions question. So he probably doesn't really see the need for a traditional relationship. He's questioning everything. And again, if you come from a house of all kind of crazy stuff going on with that Mars and stuff, that could be one of the reasons why. Like I said, this is why people have to communicate. That's something we really don't do in third dimension. You really don't sit down with the other person and really talk through things. You know, you say, hey, let's do this, let's get married. And you really go into it without no communication. So when you start to have problems, you guys aren't used to just sitting down and saying, hey, let's work this out. But I think, too, a third dimensional people, they kind of don't. They kind of just don't. They know they're not going to be together for like a long time. They say that, they say all that stuff, but if they did, they would work on communication and all that. I'm reading something real quick. All right. So that's what I'm saying. So you don't have people to really sit down and talk about these things and work through these things. It's like a rush to do everything, a rush to have sex, a rush to jump into the relationship, and as soon as it gets rocky, it's just different. I mean, even if you stay with the person for a while, but it's not like you're with them no more. You're there, but that passion and that love you had in the beginning, you kind of like let it go, and as time goes on, you're either gonna start cheating on each other or fall away, maybe get back together. But that seems to be the way they do it down here on third dimensional. But really, if people really work with their natal charts and really did it the right way, there'd be communications. And like that's why people say, "Oh, where's my twin?" You know, but they're only talking like a little kid, like bubblegum astrology. But when they feel and find out it's really hard work to really make it work with your twin, even like they say, "Well, your male is an indigo male." Like, what did they? Nobody, because I even have a video on this channel that explains why an indigo male is different from say just a normal male, and not a lot of people really ever looked at that video because they don't care. Like they just want what they want, and that's why they're gonna keep on looking for the twin. And even if they get their twin, it's probably gonna be some type of adultery at some point, and it's been running and chasing because they're not gonna really do what it takes to stabilize the situation. All right, give me 1 second. All right, I'm trying to see one thing. Alrighty. So okay, we're going to Jupiter retrograde. So it calls him to reevaluate. So he's reevaluating, relationships and stuff because it's in the seventh house. So it says that Jupiter retrograde can cause travel plans, but again, because it's in the 7th house, that's something to think about. And Jupiter also rules Sagittarius, which is all about travel and long distance travel as well. So it could be travel problems, mechanical problems, lost luggage, reservations problems, mix-ups and cancellations. So again, he said Jupiter retrograde is searching for ethics, values, and fairness. And again, there's Libra in the 7th house about fairness. So that's going to be a strong part of his personality in the 7th house. He's going to be seeking truth, looking for deeper meaning in life. Doesn't like routine. So that's something you want to make clear. He doesn't like routine, rituals, or blind faith. He likes to question the latest facts or intellectual thinking or anything. And he is looking for a perfect spiritual path. He is a spiritual person because you saw Pisces right there. So he's looking for a balance between the spiritual and the intellect. So he's got to listen more to his intuition and possibly meditate more. Just put his mind on things more. All right, now there's the 7th house. Now, wow, the 8th house. A lot going on, a lot of retrograde. That's interesting. See, that's what I see, because the chart on the left, that person's a little older, but yet this person has more retrograde planets. So that's interesting. But that's just telling you that we're in a matrix, so our viewpoint of time is not the same as what time really is. That's why we have to be careful. Somebody that's younger in this life may have been older than us in the previous life. Or somebody that was a male in this life may have been female in another life. That's why the more we learn about metaphysics and what not the lies we were told by these oppressive rulers that put us in a matrix, we just have to learn to just be humble. So we know what the 8th house is about. So he's all about a healer. He's a metaphysical healer with Virgo, but also it's the home. Home, service, daily activities, daily duties, small children, small animals, co-workers and or subordinates. And just like her, they both are into social issues for the less fortunate. And like women, minorities less fortunate, that's Pallas retrograde. And he too would have a significant meeting with someone with the Virgo energy, which might be his soulmate or his twin soul. Now, what's interesting is the 8th house is always opposite the 2nd house. You got to remember, your twin soul is the same soul, different bodies. So now if you notice, the 8th house is always opposite the second house. Now in her second house, you see Virgo. And in her eighth house, you see Pisces. Do y'all see that? In his eighth house, you see Virgo. In her second house is Virgo. In her eighth house is Pisces. You see Pisces in the second house. So they also have a financial connection, a second and eighth house connection as well. So we've got to remember that Pluto rules Scorpio. Scorpio rules the eighth house. So he will seek out eighth house matters to heal things. And why? Because he doesn't have a lot of trust in the conventional way of doing things. He kind of understands the whole idea of a matrix and stuff like that. This gentleman reminds me a little bit of Santos, because that's how Santos is. And you can see Santos on YouTube. Just type in Santos Metaphysics. He should come up. I forget his last name, but I'm pretty sure it starts with a B. All right. So now we'll go back to the retrograde planets. Pluto retrograde. Pluto retrograde brings change with fresh starts and dead ends. During this period, things we hang on to the most can suddenly be taken away. So Pluto retrograde comes to shake it up. And it's going to cause you to reevaluate what you value the most. So again, this relationship is going to go through a lot of transformations. But we already knew that because of the high presence of Scorpio and Pluto. Change can occur through destruction and rebuilding, or rejuvenation and regeneration. And like, see, before we didn't know any better. So if we saw people breaking up and making up, we immediately said, oh, that's silly, why they keep breaking up and making up. But that can also be in your chart. Outside forces are at work as well, including government upheaval, weapons, and war. Change can often be difficult. And a lot of times when you see Virgo in certain locations, that can be military service as well. Change can often be difficult, and sometimes being forced into change is the only way to push some people forward in life. And that's a horrible thing to see, but it does happen. If Pluto is retrograde in your chart, you face issues of control. And that's what the 8th house is all about, power struggles. Feeling as if you must control all things in and around your life, often to the extreme and at expense to others. Holding on to relationships so tight they become suffocating to your partner, or holding on to past relationships, refusing to let go and move on. From a past life perspective, you were probably ostracized from your family, community, or exiled from your home country. You may have been the scapegoat for the community, and you stood alone for bad deeds that perhaps you didn't even commit. These past incarnations have left you feeling mistrustful of others, especially those close to you. To overcome these lessons, it's time to learn trust of yourself and others. People are not out to get you in this lifetime. If you do allow the manipulation of others to affect you, you're letting them control your emotions and your actions. So you must learn to let the weaknesses of others slide off you. Don't give them the grip to hang on, and they'll be forced to find another to focus on. Use your knowledge and wisdom of the past as benefit to hone your instincts. Learn who to avoid who to trust, and most of all, how to believe and trust in yourself. So that's the Pluto retrograde. Uranus in retrograde suggests you expect the unexpected. Sometimes surprises come out of nowhere. This can be wonderful or undesirable depending on the situation. Uranus is the eyeball of the planet and our solar system. It can bring whims of fancy that amaze and amuse, or it can come with chaos either externally in the world or internally to the individual. At this time, some people might find their wild side coming to the surface, or the outgoing person can become uncharacteristically shy. And it was funny because they said that about him in his third house. Like he could be either or. Extreme variations or opposites in your personality are not uncommon, and you'll find yourself behaving very differently than other people perceive you. If Uranus is retrograde in your chart, you probably live your life to the extreme in many aspects. Whether you're an extreme extrovert or extreme introvert, there is little middle ground in your frame of mind. You see life as black and white with little to no gray areas at all. In one of your previous lives before this one, you were probably a rebel or a revolutionary, always fighting the establishment or looking for battles that challenge fairness. Though this lifestyle has its merits, it can be pushed to the extreme. Your extreme lifestyle has always interfered with or perhaps even destroyed many of the facets of your life. To overcome these lessons, you need to learn that giving an inch can sometimes gain you a mile. Find the middle ground and learn the art of compromise. Learning compassion can help you live in someone else's shoes and seeing the other side. It can also help you accept that others have different views or beliefs. Those alternative views aren't wrong, they're just different. All this will help you find the gray areas in life. Take a moment to appreciate the useful aspects of structure. Choose your battles and accept that some structure in life is not just a good thing, but in some cases it's also required. Ninth house, Libra. So he does have it. Because once you get to that ninth house, once you get to that Sagittarius energy, all the problems you were having before begin to dissipate. Now you can talk, and now you can work these things out. So his ninth house is very easy. Whatever he does as far as travel, communications, philosophy, learning, he wants to do it with another person. He wants that partner there. He also wants it to be fair. He wants things to be fair and probably even lawful. Lawful. Now, Curious retrograde is actually in both houses, the ninth house and the 10th. Curious direct usually means nurturing. So Curious retrograde means this might be an area hard to nurture, but it makes sense because whenever you see Juno retrograde as it is, there's been infidelity. So the infidelity and the hard to nurture seem to go hand in hand. And it's a Scorpio issue as well. So we're going to try to find this real quick, see if there's anything there for us. All right, Curious retrograde. So Curious retrograde does not bode well for relationships. And I'm getting this from spiritnow.com. How will Curious retrograde affect your sign? Curious retrograde does not bode well for relationships, especially if they are codependent in the first place. So you got Scorpio there, which can be very obsessive, which to me that is codependent, because you really need, I need you, where were you, and I got to talk to you, I just don't feel right if I don't talk to you. And so when you see a Curious retrograde, someone can unexpectedly withdraw their affections or try to break an emotionally unhealthy cycle by behaving dramatically differently. Addictions and abusive patterns of behavior also tend to be more apparent when Curious goes backwards in the sky. Romantic relationships in general will seem a little colder. Usually the message of Curious retrograde is to go inward and cultivate your ability to unconditionally love yourself if you want to be able to love another. Instead of being a fountain of sympathy and understanding for everyone else, focus on fulfilling your own needs. This is the best way to encourage others to do the same, and you'll still be helping them by decreasing their dependent tendencies on you. Also, this person may suffer poor crops or poor plants because Curious is an agricultural goddess. Alright, so that's what they got. So this might even be somebody they met at their job, but it's Scorpio, so it's probably a soulmate. Probably a soulmate or something. But it's definitely infidelity. And when you're dealing with Scorpio energy or the 8th house, that could be anything. Because that could be the lowest level of sexuality, real freaky, taboo stuff. But again, it all started, it could have started in a past life, but it could all started also with a family problems. Because a lot of people I know, because one time I went to this counseling thing, and a lot of those people had been abused, and that was a major reason why they had taken the choices they took in life, because they had been abused by parents and people that should have taught, they should have been able to trust, took advantage of, abused the trust. So now we're going to look at Neptune retrograde. So logic is going to fall to the wayside. But the funny thing is they just got finished telling him to trust his intuition. So what Scorpio right there, that's what Neptune is going to do. Neptune is going to force him to forget about logic and just go with the intuition and feelings. So because Neptune is retrograde, he is going to be more Scorpion, more esoteric, more about intuition. He's more into his dreams and psychic abilities. And he wants to try other means of communication, not the ones being taught by the world. Because like I said, you know, if your dad or your mom that's supposed to be Christian, or maybe your dad's a pastor, and he's beating the crap out of you or doing all kind of crazy stuff, that's going to turn you off to religion and everything. So now you're looking for answers somewhere else. So this person may try other outlets of communication. But if you remember, on the chart to the left, they warned that person to be careful, because they have people going deeper and deeper into the unknown, and you finally get what you're looking for, but you won't be too happy when you get it. Have to be very careful. Neptune is also the ruler over bacteria, viruses, and immune system. When it goes retrograde, allergies may pick up or worsen. In addition, children who are given vaccinations during this time can develop stronger reactions to the drugs. Many people will suffer with an oversensitive immune system and can develop more serious diseases. So this person is going to try to escape reality. They may get caught up on drugs and other addictions, alcoholism. They're going to be with disillusion. And again, people won't know what's on their mind. Even the people that sit across the dinner table from them, they still won't know what's on their mind. And even when this person's working, because as you see, this is in the career sector, ironically. Now, this writer didn't know that his Scorpio and everything would be in the career sector, Neptune retrograde, but it is. Even when you're working, you'll have a strong tendency to just drift away in a dreamland to more pleasurable pursuits. So they say Neptune retrograde can be the most dangerous retrograde position in the astrological chart system, because it can cause people to be inhibited and lack the confidence to reach for their dreams and reality. So they'll find escape from the perceived failure through an abuse of drugs or alcohol. So they may even suffer from mental illness and possible depression. So from a past life perspective, you had a lifetime where your dreams were laughed at or forbidden for some reason. You may have been forced to give up your lifelong dream in exchange for other responsibilities, such as becoming the breadwinner for your family unexpectedly. So this causes him to try to escape or have extreme expressions in his creativity. This has probably gotten the best of you and caused other problems in various aspects of your current life. To overcome these lessons, you need to learn how to rise above challenges that come across your path. If you abuse drugs, alcohol, or any other unhealthy behaviors, you have to get the help you need to overcome them and deal with them. To rise above these challenges, you need to use your creativity in a positive manner. Learn to control it and not let it control you. Focus your efforts to not only better yourself in your life, but consider helping others who are going through much tougher or the same situations as you. So that's his 8th house, or the 10th house. Now in the 11th house, which is about friends, association, and groups, there's Sagittarius. So now Sagittarius is foreign language. So he may be part of a group that's foreign, strange. Now that can be foreign as in people, but it can also be foreign as in the unknown. But it's still philosophy, religion, still travel long distance. And that's his moon sign is there. So your moon sign helps you with your emotions. It can help you be psychic. It depends. But it can also help you get along with people. The moon sign. Because you see it's in his 11th house. Now, 12th house all about endings and subconscious. But remember, Capricorn is an old soul. Capricorn can mean he's a worker or an old soul, but Capricorn can also mean career and reputation. So we're going to look at Capricorn in the 12th house. Now, as we begin to conclude this aspect, you now have a better, because she was asking certain questions, and I said, well, for questions like that, we're going to have to see the chart first, which we did the charts first, which we did. But now we can kind of understand why there might be those problems that are there. This is astrologyclub.org. Capricorn in the 12th house, you may be very intuitive and maybe even psychic when it comes to yours and others' professional and public goals and ambitions. and your abilities are your secret tool for gaining extraordinary results. But knowing that in traditional professional circles, metaphysics and spirituality are not always welcome, you may hide your abilities or deny them in order to establish and maintain professional public image. But just because they aren't welcome in those circles doesn't mean you won't use them. And as you use them, it is important for you to remember that these kind of abilities are blessings, and that abusing them for your personal gain may cost you the reputation and status you strive to achieve through their use. Be sure to use your gifts wisely and with gratitude, and always for the highest good and most positive results of all involved. The 12th house completes the circle of experiences. That's the natal chart, or natal wheel. This is the house of fulfillment. In this location, Capricorn can fulfill itself as a spiritualized individual. The karmic responsibility of the Capricorn in the 12th house is to be selfless service, to give selfless service to mankind from the viewpoint of spirituality. Here is where the cosmic consciousness can come in, where the Capricorn can be involved with the universal concepts, the concepts of creation itself. Here is where the final indication of self and the cosmic can take place. However, the Capricorn would tend to do all of this from within and not externalize it. On a strictly mundane and negative level, it could easily increase the emotional sensitivity of the sign of Capricorn. Also, since Capricorn does not enjoy too much involvement in life and too many of the activities of life, the irresponsibility of the sign of Pisces could further emphasize this. This is a general problem with having a cardinal sign on a mutable house. The cardinal sign always wishes to initiate and direct, whereas the receptivity and to a degree the passivity of a mutable house gives the effect of something like an automatic spinning its wheels in sand, digging in deeper, but feeling uncomfortable in the case of the 12th house with the infinite. There is a need for flexibility in any mutable house location, which is difficult for a cardinal sign such as Capricorn. So they might be a little inflexible in the 12th house. And it's funny because he's got Capricorn in the 12th house, but he also has issues in his 10th house with Scorpio. And Scorpio is ruled by Capricorn. So there's definitely 8th house issues there. But it looks like family, career, he had some type of a affair. He was unfaithful. And that might be the reason why Capricorn ended up in the 12th house, because of what happened in the 10th house, which is ruled by Capricorn. So he's got to deal with all of that. And the other person has to deal with family issues as well. All right. So what we're going to do, because this has been a long video, so we're going to do those questions on its own video. But that will conclude these natal charts. Again, there are sales going on. Always check the description box. But you can also contact me if you need the service list, the services we offer, and the price list. And really anything intuitive we do. So numerology, whatever it is, for people that need phone consultation, we do that as well. All these are offered as services, but anything intuitive we do.